Guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon master this evening, or this morning, or this afternoon, wherever this finds you, whenever this finds you. Today, we're continuing on with Chapter 3 of our Quarantine Crusaders, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition campaign, mini-campaign, playing through Wizards of the Coast's Legacy of the Crystal Shard. Actually, I didn't even check to see who wrote this darn thing. Who wrote this? Let's find out, guys. The design has a shit ton of people. So it's Bob Salvatore with Jeff Ludwig, James Wyatt, and Matt Cernat. Cool. And with me today are the Quarantine Crusaders, and I'll go through the order I've got you guys. Why don't you tell us who you are, and who are you playing today? First up is John.
Hey everyone, I am playing Falcor Hawkfriend. He is a Ranger Falconer, also specialty priest of Solinar, so he'll be your healer / range support.
Nice. And next up is Arlen.
Hi, I'm Arlen. I'm playing Gorwyn Uridan, who is an elf. He's got he's technically a fighter, but he's got kind of an academic background that takes away from that sometimes. And his most significant contribution to the fight, not last time, but the time before, was his ability to stabilize guardsmen. So we'll see.
No penalties to that. Nice. Next up is Hobbs.
Hello, I am Jason Hobbs, and I am playing Store, a Luskin fighter who is a bad gambler, but pretty charismatic.
Mm-hmm. And next up is Jeffrey.
Everybody, I'm Jeff, and I'm playing Bruin today. He is a human ranger who likes his bow.
Nice.
And that's about it.
Good.
Doesn't he like his drink too?
He does like his drink.
A little too much, I think.
We don't have to tell the viewers at home about his drinking.
Next up is Andrew.
Hello, I'm Andrew. I'm playing Kola, a dwarven priest of Glavidon. Yeah, I've missed out on the last couple, so I'm eager to get back in.
And
Lord knows what he's been up to.
Yeah, we actually said he was at there was a bar at Kelvin's Kelvin's Comfort. Kelvin's Comfort has a wide variety. One of the most popular taverns in town, owing to its extensive stock of dwarven ales and brandies. Although the common room is bedecked with dwarven craft of Battlehammer make, most of the liquors are imported from Mirabar, on the far side of the spine of the world. So we've assumed that he has been toasted for his successes in Kelvin's Comfort, while the rest of the party kind of did their thing. You'll be coming out and joining them momentarily. But last and not least is Dave.
Hey everybody, I'm Dave. I'm playing Lex Wiltshire, a half-elven ranger who is leaving behind a world of loss and a legacy of family that he doesn't want to be a part of to join this group.
Nice. That is a common thing in the Icewind Dales, leaving your past behind you. So, last session, so the last two sessions we had, the first session saw you guys arrive in Bryn Shander and saw a bit of a tussle with some Yeti, which you guys successfully defeated and drove off. And then last session we saw a lot of chatty stuff. What happened last session, guys? To bring us back up to speed, if I can use visual aids as we're going through this.
So to start off, we were in the sort of caravan staging ground by the gate. Erlich went off by himself to go to the North Look to find this man named Slim, who we are now pretty sure is just like some sort of gangster.
Let's just share a moment of silence for Erlich. We'll miss you.
Yep. The rest of us met Mithron the cleric and Markham the sheriff in the entrance square, and then we went to the market square. A couple of people headed off, or were going to head to the Northlook Tavern, but we ended up, so Gorwyn talked to Hangar Insvard, the Rhaegar tribesman who was chained up in the market square to a post, basically to be exposed and killed overnight. while Store led a party to go talk to the wool merchant, whose name is Brenna Alcott, who accused Hangar of stealing from her, and found out that there is a conspiracy in town. There's all sorts of nasty stuff going on with this goddess named Auril, who is like the evil winter, basically. And there are cultists, and they're basically trying to human sacrifice Hangar, and talked about elven sacrificing some of the party members. So then basically everybody except Erlich, who was busy, went to speak to the speaker, Duvessa Shane, and got her to stay Hangar's execution for one day. And we even got her to suggest that perhaps Hangar could be exiled instead of killed if we can't prove his innocence outright. And we also talked to her about the RO cult, and Store, I think, offered to help root them out. And she basically said that would be good, but, that's not... she didn't know anything about them as of yet. Erlich, on his own, burst into the room in the North Look where Slim was and got either attacked or perhaps just killed off by Slim's armed men. So we don't know exactly what's happened to
He
him.
did face that with 1 hit point.
He
well
was
too.
totally beat up and wounded from the Yeti attack still.
Yep.
That's some solid strategy.
Yeah, that's
And
sort of a
that
self-inflicted wound there. So.
Yeah, that was pretty much everything. We ended with talking to Duvessa Shane. Oh, Duvessa Shane, the speaker, is also up for re-election, is concerned about her chances. So our involvement in the town may influence that, because the other person who is running is Valish Gent, who has not been here long but has made friends quickly. He's a merchant from Waterdeep. And apparently there's been more grousing from the merchant class after he's made friends with all of them. So it's unclear whether Duvessa Shane or Valish would be better for the community, but presumably our actions will have an influence on the election.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's everything.
I think Store also recognized the name Slim.
Oh, yes. Store recognized Slim as a
Ne'er-do-well?
potential, like a pirate from Luskin.
Part of one of the ships, one of the
houses.
Yeah, like the political factions or gangs that kind of rule that city. Okay, then howdy, George.
Hey guys,
So
can you hear me? God.
we can hear you. No, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, good.
Motherfucker!
I was about to start cursing because I figured you couldn't hear me.
So George is joining us, and he is playing Oswald Elderberry, the halfling who wants to be a paladin. So
Right.
All right, now guys,
Isn't he a paladin in training?
I'll tell you that.
Paladin in training. Sure.
So then, let's see here. What this is? Oh, you know what? I once again misplaced notes, because I know I've got notes for what day we arrived. As regular viewers will know, my obsession with calendars. My newfound obsession with calendars in this game. So you guys arrived on the 25th of Elint. And Elint is the effectively the equivalent of September. So, this evening, you guys, the evening is coming down. You've just left your meeting with the speaker, Duvessa, and when you walk out for and remember the speaker's palace is that, like, the only two-story structure in the entire town. It's beautiful, thick, heavy stone. It has a distinctive dwarven craftsmanship to it, and has big, long, marble or columns out front as well. So you walk out into this this little square outside of that too, and I think you find a slightly slightly beer-smelling Cola walking up to you guys, realizing that he eventually heard where you guys were headed, and he has come to meet you, and I guess the meeting has finished. Look at that. That's some RP right there. Nice. Good stuff. So, what happens next, guys? Evening is coming. The cold, of course, is settling in because, you know, this is a very, very unseasonable winter. Very cold and early. So far, it seems like if you want to talk about just the sort of tasks that are before you, in a couple of days, there is that dwarven merchant who, or she'll leave anytime with you, but she's happy to go up to the Dwarven Valley and pay you to help her along there. It sounds like you guys are getting involved with this, the tribesmen, and you've now lost, when you've heard about the possibility of that alchemist paying you some cash.
Yeah, so I thought that one of our objectives, once we have finished talking to the speaker, is some of us were considering staying at the North Look anyway, and there was word that Ehrlich had headed up there. Perhaps we should look into that. We don't really have anything pressing other than that, as far as I can tell. I'm just kind of waiting around to see if this cult contacts me.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a few days before we head north.
Okay.
Did we get a stay of execution for 1 day, or was it longer?
Yes, 1 day.
Okay. If there's a way we can influence the cult to act sooner, I wonder.
Well, we did find out that I think that this Davin character was
a merchant?
Merchant of some sort, but I don't think we found out what type of merchant.
What if some of us inquired, some of us maybe not including yourself, inquired about the merchant, try and draw him out, or seek you out sooner? I'm not confident in these ways. This isn't how I normally do things.
I can't say that I'm much of a spy either.
So then, where do you guys want to head right now?
I think we're headed to North Look. Sound good to you guys?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What was this thing about this Slim character? You recognize him or heard the name before?
Yeah, there's rumors about him in Luskin having strange powers. I try to keep my distance from most of those people, but
Yeah, especially after you pissed them off.
well, I wasn't going to say that.
All right. Looks like Mo, can you hear us? Is Mo in the...
Oh, Mo's in the chat now.
Okay. Good. So let me hit refresh here, or reconnect. See if we can get everybody up and running here.
Oh.
I kind of hear Mo. He was just really quiet.
Okay. I can't hear Mo at all. So, Mo, I don't see you in Roll20, and I can't hear you in the... Oh, I see you in Roll20 now. Perfect. Cannot hear you still, though. Okay, so then, guys, what... I guess where you're headed then is to the North Gate next, and which means that you'll be cutting through Market Square once again too. And as you kind of walk in, you can see that the Hendar, is it Hendar? Hagar,
I think.
Hengar. They're splitting the difference on it. So Hendar, once again, is sort of talking to any person who can walk past him. This time of day, the market square is slowing down, so there are less people that he's drawing attention to. Kola, this is the first time I think you maybe have seen this guy as you made your way to Council Hall as well too. He's this tall, sturdy, strong Rhaegar tribesman, and he's basically been pleading with anyone who has come by to try and get him, to free him to Rhaegad, not Rhaegar, to free him so that he can, he claims to have been falsely accused. He claims to, to have come down here for help against some kind of white witch, and yeah, he once again repeats that. And seeing the lot of you guys all coming by, Gorwin, he looks at you and says, Elf! Elf! Have you freed me? He once again struggles to his feet. Oh, you're muted, Arlen.
I was
Store
muting because I was
shakes his
taking
head.
notes and my keyboard is loud.
Oh, okay.
Gorwin will walk over to him and say, "We have convinced the speaker to stay your execution for a day and to perhaps exile you instead of executing you at all."
Dude.
I have 11 charisma. I'm not not the one for softening the blow.
So he looks
Isn't
and
that?
one of
Store
the,
is going to try and pull him away if he'll go, but if he won't, then there's not much help for it.
I think one of the guards comes over as well too. Like there's a guard that came from the speaker's office shortly after you guys are there, who comes and the Hengar looks at kind of looks at this approaching guard. The guard walks up to the two that Oswald was trying to distract before, or did distract before, and then they go up. They unshackle him, and then they take him off to some to the jail. And yeah, he is. Gorwin looks back and he says, "One day, what will one day give me? Freedom is what I need. I'm innocent." And the guard kind of shovels, hits him and shoves him, and then they sort of, leave the market square. So, guys, you are now heading up to the Northlook. So, the Northlook is a bit, as we said last time, the Northlook is kind of the adventurer / mercenary hangout for people living in Bryn Shander. And just refresh our memory here. It is also the rowdiest and most dangerous place to stay in Bryn Shander. Its tap room is the best place in all 10 towns to get the leads on profitable ventures, along with latest news and rumors. And the proprietor is a retired sellsword who goes by the name Scramsax, who takes advantage of the high hopes of and good fortunes of his customers by charging the most exorbitant rates in town. But knowing that things are kind of can be unpredictable, he can also give loans and handouts for adventurers or mercenaries between jobs.
That's awesome. So he's a bartender
Yeah,
and a
wanted-
money lender.
Yeah.
Shark.
Basically, yeah. And I think that since Brune, you've had some drinking problems in the past. Do you think that you've had a problem with Scramsax, or has he had a problem with you before?
Yeah, probably. We're not best of friends, I'll tell you that.
Okay. So, and also you're already like 4 drinks in from the meeting with Speaker Defessa too.
Yeah, exactly. I'll probably kind of avoid him.
Okay. So you guys all come walking into the Northlook, and again, it's a very, it's really kind of like a story and a half kind of place. It's not quite 2 stories because like there is a lower like cellar on the side where they store stuff and whatever, and on the on top of there is where all the rooms are, and then the tap room is attached to that as the main room, and that's what you guys are walking into. And it's very much like what I described before. This is kind of the Icewind Dale equivalent of the Mos Eisley Cantina. You get in there and there's a bunch of people having either very, very boisterous or very secretive conversations with each other. And the, you kind of look around, it looks pretty full, but I think you'll be able to find a, one long table where you'll be able to fit all of your guys. This is the first, one of the advantages of old school play is you'll often have tables that will not comfortably fit at one restaurant table. So you guys will have to take a nice long table. Everyone gets their seat down there, and I think, let's see here, Brune, are you taking any steps to try and keep yourself hidden from Scramsax?
I don't know that I'm hiding. Probably more just like our agreement is like you don't cause problems in here, and
Okay. So maybe there's a, like, as you kind of start making your way into, there's a whistle from the bar, like I can't whistle that loud, but there's a loud whistle, and you know what it is, Brune, and you look over, and I'm picturing this guy is played by Pete Postlethwaite. Exactly, Hobbs. Yeah. Get out of my brain. He does this like I can see you
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like this guy, he does not look like a terribly impressive. Cuts a very impressive form at this point. He's old. He's got jowls, bald, but he looks like he's one of these old guys who looks like he's made out of pure leather. Just like ropey muscles and leathered skin, scars on his face, hair that doesn't grow back in certain patches from where scar tissue is. But he sees you, Brune, and you sort of stumble a little bit as you're taking your seat.
Yeah.
And then you all sit down. So, if any of you think to spare a look for Airlock, you don't see him anywhere in here.
Well, that's not good.
Should we ask around?
Might as well. I don't think we want Slim after us, though, so maybe someone should do it surreptitiously.
Should do it what?
On the down low.
Oh, I see.
So,
Forest dwellers are like, what are you talking about, man? Is that an herb?
No, it's a verb. Adverb, I think.
yeah. Welcome to Dungeons and Grammar, Grammar and Goblins, everyone's favorite old school role playing game. So what do we? You guys all sit down, and what happens next, guys?
Yeah,
Mo, you're still really, really quiet. I'm not sure why.
If there was a help wanted sign in the window or something, or in the door or something like that, I probably would try to. If we're going to be here for a little while, I would probably try to get a job. I may be able to bond with some kitchen staff or something like that. That's always a good source of information and knowledge about local areas.
There's not going to be like a help wanted sign necessarily, but I mean, you could go and try and talk up your your thing. So you head off and
I've got skills.
Sure. Okay. Mo, can you try again here now?
Right, I've just jacked it up.
You're still like barely can hear you. I don't know why that's because we haven't had we've had problems with your sound stuff before. Mo's got a very, very, probably the most elaborate sound setup of any of us, and it seems to work the least.
I'm actually using my work headset, which is the one I use for our other games.
Yeah, I would say go through your Hangout settings. It doesn't seem like it's picking the audio up off of your mic, and it's picking it up off of your laptop or something instead.
Yeah.
Let me try that then.
I was going to say, like, when a server comes over, glance around to see if anyone's going to, like, offer up some payment for the server as we order our drinks, but obviously it isn't going to be Store because he's low on funds as usual. He's still got a horse blanket under one arm, and he's going to say, ask around and see if anyone saw a very pale man with some Yeti cuts, wild eyes, and crazier hair.
So as a reminder, Store has like a 17 charisma. So the waitress is very happy to talk to you and says that when you ask about him, he came in. I think he went upstairs.
Any idea what he was doing up? Did he say anything when he came in?
Said he was looking. I don't know what he said. But Scramsax waved him on up.
Nice. Well, we will all take drinks and any news that you have.
You want a little bite to eat, honey?
Well, the food wouldn't be bad either.
Kind of playfully pushes you. Oh, you. And then what do you call it? The rest of the table, you gets drink orders from everybody. Heads off, and you guys will have some of the local ales coming back. Although, again, like some of you guys are a little. A little in your cups. And as it walks away too, Scramsax once again looks at you, Brune, is like,
friend of yours, Brune?
Yeah, you could say that.
So
we've had our issues.
When you guys, I guess we'll let you guys have a chat here now too. Oswald's headed off to go and talk to the kitchen staff, no doubt to speak his praises as a paladin in training. And then the rest of the group does what?
Do we recognize anybody here? Are there any merchants that, or any other guards for the caravan, or?
No, I mean the merchants would be staying at Geldenstag's Rest. That's a nicer place, and that's the place where that widow, her husband died when they were fighting. So it's a little more of a secure and kind of stable place, or at Kelvin's Comfort for that matter too, depending on whether they're dwarven merchants or not. There maybe is one or two of the caravan guards who are in here too, the ones that weren't injured by the Yeti, of course, and they've taken seats off, somewhere and are just they seem to be getting themselves like settled in for the season. They may go off to work a little bit of maybe caravan work or some light labor or something like that to get through the winter months, but that's really it. I mean, there are who are you looking for in the crowd? Like, is there someone you were hoping to find here?
We need information, and I was wondering if there's anyone else that I personally knew or something that would be an in to talk to, or someone that I would recognize as someone who might.
Yeah,
know.
I think so. Especially given the season, like this is where either you are, you're making sure that you're the fuck out of Icewind Dale for when the winter sets in, or you're going to be, around here for the season, and the people would kind of get to know you. And I think there is another guy, basically another kind of not a myrmidon like class wise, but he fills the same role that you do, sort of the senior, like mercenary. And this is a guy from the reason he stands out quite a bit is because he's from quite far south, likely from one of like Kalmshan, or I can't remember what the other one is. And his name is Jabari.
Jabari was not with us, right? So he's
not with you. No, he would have come up on another
Awesome.
thing. Yeah. So he's talking to some of his things, and I think some of his men, or what you could, you can recognize with your seasoned history story. You can recognize a soldier when you see one. And he's talking to a bunch of other like mercenary guys, and he's doing what you always know him to do, which is to embellish stories. He, there's a little bit of that Kalimshan flair to him, where he likes, talking over and for those who aren't familiar with the kind of geographic stuff in the Forgotten Realms, Kalimshan is kind of like the Arabic influenced, or one of the Arabic influenced lands. So this guy's got dark, kind of bronze skin, dark eyes, dark hair, and kind of like a pronounced like an aquiline nose as well. And he's talking to these guys, and then he kind of makes eye contact with you, Store, and kind of does
Hey, what's happening? Yes, well, I will approach with my near empty drink and see what's been happening and what the news is.
Sure.
With Jabari, my peer.
So I'm picturing you walk up, and you're like, "Hey, Jabari," and then you grab the pitcher that's on their table and fill your drink with it and put it down.
Of course, yeah,
Okay.
That sounds great.
And he says, "Store, at the were you with the last caravan that came in?"
Yes, bringing up the tail again, it seems, Jabari.
Tale indeed. This winter. This is the last. You must have been the last caravan coming in for the season, then.
That's what we hear. I hope so. I don't think any others will make it.
Oh, speaking of make it, do you have you saved enough to make it through the winter, or are we going to see it the working labor again?
It wouldn't surprise me if I had to chop a little wood here and there.
Why? From the sounds of things, I've only been here a couple of weeks now. We got in a few weeks back, but have you heard about the trouble with the tribesmen? There may be fighting to be done here.
It seems like it. I think that might be a bad thing for 10 towns, though.
Bad for 10 towns, maybe. Good for those in our line of work, though. These merchants, they pay a pretty gold coin for keeping their riches safe. And who better than to keep keep things safe than well-trained, seasoned professionals like us, no? And he laughs, and the kind of flunkies at his table all kind of laugh at him as well, too.
Yeah, I'll laugh with him, though. I don't ever like to laugh at anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, why? Do you have any lines on any leads or anything?
Oh, nothing yet, but what I hear is that they've Things have gotten so bad that the town is blaming the tribesmen for these attacks. Wait, did I hear something? Did I hear right that you were involved in the arrival of the Yeti? There was some kind of you brought Yeti here?
Well, you know how it is. The last ones in always get the worst. But we obviously didn't bring the Yeti, but we did fight them off.
You fought them off. Impressive. That's no doubt something. That might actually command a higher price than what you would normally. We should talk store. Perhaps a joint venture.
Maybe. You're too good of a card player to hang out for me to hang out with too much, though.
I think it's more that you're just too poor of one. Still, your coin and your effort is always welcome. Anyone else can feel free to try and horn in on this conversation too.
I assume I can't because I'm.
Yeah. I think
late.
it's a safe bet that it may not be a bad idea to roll up a replacement character.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. So. Because that seemed like that was a clearly this element is hot, don't touch it moment, and I'm not sure we're gonna get around that.
What did you Bari have any other news about anything? If I can lead the conversation towards the possibility of, how upset the people are, and if there's anything else going on about that, like
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it out loud, but if he knows anything about some word of a cult or anything like that.
I don't think he has any word of that. But what he, he definitely all the things that Speaker DeVessa spoke about before, about there being tension in town, and certainly the tensions between the townsfolk, the 10 townsfolk, and the ragged tribesmen is no joke. Like, you can hear even some of the caravan guards that are here are local, boys and girls who hired on with us stuff to try and make some coin and see see the bright lights and big city of Luskin, and they're like laying in pretty hard to the tribesmen, and there, if you bring up DeVessa's name, I think that there is a bit of tension there as well. There's definitely a bit of like, well, what the hell's she done? Like this, that she let all this come to it,
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's interesting to find out. Do we see anyone when I'm talking to these guys? Do I see anyone in here who looks like they're eyeing my group of people back, like in any certain way or anything like
there's
that?
a bit. I mean, there's a bit of that, but only from what you can tell, it's the same kind of like, friendly rivalry that happens when a group of professionals all kind of get together. You guys are sizing each other up, especially for the amount of new faces that are in here too, like Lex, Gorwin, Falcarel, Oswald, Thomas, and the late great Erlich. We're all new faces in here. So seeing quite so many elves and half elves and such is probably getting a little bit of attention here, just because there's not a native elven tribe or something like that is located in Bryn Shander. So
I was going to ask him, I guess, one last thing. If he had seen Erlich pass through, or had heard him say anything like what he was doing here or anything like that.
Yes, the pale one, or the
Yep.
one with face paint.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he came. He was in. I don't. Scramsax sent him. He was asking about Slim. That's right, and you see his face kind of gets a little more serious.
Yeah, what do you know of this Slim?
And he kind of looks and he says, "Let me get a new picture." And he stands up and he puts his hand on your shoulder and starts trying to walk you across the crowd so he can talk to you without having those the other looky-loos sort of listening in. And what he says is that he says, "You, if you're looking for, depending on how bad you are up for work, Slim is looking to hire, but the work's a lot more. It's a lot less clean than caravan work. You know me, I don't like to get involved with such things, but then again, I save my money, and I'm better at cards.
Yeah, I do. Interesting. Maybe Ehrlich was working for work then.
There's a lot hiring on, though. It seems that he's... What I hear is the basis of the... what I hear is that or there's a lot of new faces up from Luskin.
Yeah. I mean, usually it's just mine.
Usually yours. So, if you want that type of work, just talk to Scram Sacks. I think that's where you're the one you were asking for. That's where he went.
All right. I'll wait until he gets a pitcher and get a refill, and then maybe head back to the table to see if anyone is interested in going up to find. Wants to talk to Scram Sacks or wants to head up to see Slim.
So you come back, and the table is full of food and drinks at this point. Does anyone want to... what do you call it? Does anyone want to... Or to tell me what... Like, did anything else happen in the time that Store was talking to Jabari?
I mean, I think Bruin's just keeping his head down and, you know, hoping to keep getting served drinks as long as he can.
Anyone else? No?
So who else besides Store has been here for more than a season? Anyone?
Bruin's from here.
Bruin's from here?
Yeah. Cola has originally from the Dwarven Valley.
Okay. So maybe it's Bruin that Lex tries to sit next to and says, like, does it grow on you? Like, I don't know. I've been through a number of towns, and I'm not feeling the welcome wagon vibe coming from anybody here. And I'm not just here in Northlook, I mean, like, in town.
Yeah, not the friendliest lot. That's why I usually spend most of my time out in the bush.
I can appreciate that, but with this winter we're having, I don't anticipate that's going to happen anytime soon.
No, it might be a tough year for it.
Okay, just curious. Wouldn't mind escaping town for a little while, but hell, this weather.
Yeah.
So, Cole, as well too, Drew, you missed our last session. The way that things have sort of changed here became really apparent last time. Like, the tension between the people in the 10 towns and the ragged tribesmen is way more severe than what you recall from the last time you were here. This is substantially different. The fact that they were leaving out a guy to die of exposure in the market square, and someone particularly from the what do you call it? Someone's mic, guys. I'm getting a lot of background noise.
It's Brandon. You should probably mute.
Brandon, you better mute, bud, because we're getting a lot of like bags and stuff. Okay. Because
the Elk tribe is friendly to the town, right?
The Elk tribe is a friendly. Normally, the tribe that everyone feels is like the good one, you know, of the ragged tribesmen. So the fact that this guy was a member of the Elk tribe and they were going to sacrifice him. Did you bring? I take it that you guys brought Cola up to speed on what you found as well too. That this guy was actually seems to have been framed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also very, very new. It's one of the human goddesses, or at least it's not someone that the dwarves venerate, but Auril is is effectively like a doomsday cult out here, more so than someone you would venerate. The mad, the nihilists, and the power-hungry are the ones who would venerate Auril out here. Because nothing would make her happier than wiping out and freezing every settlement in the Icewind Dale. So, that's all troubling stuff to put into context how Cola would be thinking here.
And how widespread? Sorry, would they have been when Cola was here last?
Non-existent. The cult of Auril. No. It would be like it's rumored that some of the more belligerent, ragged tribes may venerate her. You know, and more by venerate, I mean like, you know, pray that she doesn't wipe them out. You know, Oh, you also got a name as well, too, guys. There was a name of contact. Someone who apparently is the chosen of Aurel. Do you remember that, too, guys?
Davril. Yeah, we mentioned that. He's also like a merchant of some type, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, a merchant, and I think it was in...
We don't know what kind of merchant at this point.
No, but you do know where, because let's just go over to the Icewind Dale map for a second here. It was in Bremen. Bremen.
All right, it was in Bremen. I wasn't sure. I'm not sure we knew that, but maybe.
I think Speaker Devessa is the one who told you that.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
So
she couldn't remember what kind of goods, though.
No, although it's likely, to be honest, like in this thing, it's likely knucklehead trout.
Probably.
Yeah, knucklehead trout is sort of the most lucrative commercial endeavor in the region. So that's sort of, where it's more likely than not that's what he trades. But there are varying degrees of success in that. So.
Kevin, on this map, whereabouts do the ragged tribesmen live?
So the ragged tribesmen are usually in the region. So the elk, hold on here, is what do you got? Where are you? Where are you? Okay. So the eastern edge of the dale is the Ragged Glacier, and it says even the barbarians rarely venture to this bleak and barren area. We'll give you a little... There we go. This is Bob Salvatore's words itself. Many miles north of 10 towns, across the trackless tundra to the northmost edge of land, in all the realms, the frosts of winter had already hardened the ground in a white-tipped glaze. There were no mountains or trees to block the cold bite of the relentless eastern wind carrying the frosty air from the Ragged Glacier. The great bergs of the sea of moving ice drifted slowly past, the wind howling off their high-riding tips in a grim reminder of the coming season. And yet, the nomadic tribes who summered there with the reindeer had not journeyed with the herd's migration southwest along the coast to the more hospitable sea on the south side of the peninsula. The unwavering flatness of the horizon was broken in one small corner by a solitary encampment, the last gathering of barbarians this far north in more than a century. So clearly that's just a bit of fiction stuff there, but I think they move all over in the region. So because this is sort of where the 10 towns are, but the actual Icewind Dale itself is substantially bigger. Let me show you what the... Yeah. Oh, I gotta upload it at some point. But the elk itself is... Let's see. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Because they move around.
Stump the Kev.
Yeah, I was trying to find where... Because it's a moving target I'm trying to hit here. So... Alright, so how long does it take to get there? So it's, like north of Kelvin's Cairn. The big mountain that's in there too. So there's a region that, if you see the bigger map, and I'll load between now and next session, I'll load or maybe on the break I can load it. I'll load the bigger picture of the region, and you can see there's the Sea of Trackless Ice, I think it's called. Sea of Moving Ice is to the north, and then it sort of curves around. So you can picture to the north of this map there is the coastline to the Sea of Moving Ice, and then that goes up and kind of curves around to the icy wastes to the north. It's that region in the summertime is where all of them sort of move and whatnot, and yeah, they are nomadic tribes, so they kind of move all over. The camp, is about 20 miles north of Calvin's Cairn, or that's sort of the region where you would find. So the time to travel there is a couple of days, actually. Yeah, like 3 days or 4 days, depending on the weather. And I mean, in this weather, too. Ugh. Not nice. So it's not like they're constantly in here, but the elk tribes do, or the tribe of the elk that does make their way down into the region sometimes. The other tribes, not so much.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So what else, guys?
So Thomas is going to suggest that we look for Ehrlich.
Yeah.
Sorry, is it better now? 'Cause I did switch microphones.
Okay.
Hey, Bruin, why don't you go and ask the barkeep there if he's seen Ehrlich?
No. He doesn't want to talk to me.
Okay, I'll do it then.
Okay.
Much better idea.
Sure. So Tom, you head on up to.
Actually, no, I'll ask the serving person that we bought the drinks if she's seen him come down after he went up there.
She stops and she looks around. She says, "Well, busy night, but I don't think so."
Okay, where did he go to?
You have to talk to Scramtrax. I don't know. I'm upstairs somewhere. Did you want another drink?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Put it on the tap.
Okay. The Brune can tell you that Scramtrax does not keep a tab.
Not even for the heroes of the gate.
Shocked. Well, that's right. The guards are paying for your drinks anyway. So she heads off. Tom, you get up and make your way over to the bar, and Scramsax is sort of like barking at one of the servers to go and do something that better than what she didn't do or whatever. He barks at her and then turns around and says, "Yeah."
One of our friends went to see Slim. I believe he wanted us to join him.
You here to see Slim then?
Possibly, yeah.
Upstairs. Second door. On the second floor. On your right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll go back to the table and relay that information. Shall we go and find him? I'm sure we can get a blackcurrant and a snake white and black for him.
So the Slim character is
the classic goth drink.
The Slim character is definitely dangerous. I don't know if all of us are just going to be able to walk up there or not, but
well, maybe a couple of us do, and then if there's trouble, we'll yell and you can come in and
all right then.
Okay. Now, Oswald,
So
what information were you hoping to get out of the people in the kitchen?
Kitchen staff, wait staff, they always know everything about low society, and so, here it is. If we're trying to find something out about Slim, or the owner, or information, or these sort of things going on, they're typically a good source for that sort of thing. So,
Right. I don't disagree.
And to keep myself useful.
Wait. But what I want to know is what specifically do you want to try and what specific information are you looking for? Are you asking about Slim specifically, or are you asking about something else, or what?
No, I would ask. I would ask about Slim specifically, since that's what we're trying to find out about.
Okay. So I think that what you, in the course of sort of chatting with people and beginning to kind of chop up some vegetables and such, what you find out is that Slim has been here for about, I believe, about 2 weeks. Let me double check that. It says here since the Fang Dragon.
And the sheriff too. They'll know about law enforcement, and I'd want to hit that.
You want to ask about the sheriff?
Yeah, it would be Slim, and then because they're also going to know all the service industry is going to know everything about the cops too. So,
okay, so let's just do two things here. First off, remember this is a medieval society, so don't try and use modern cognates to draw parallels, because you're gonna have some breakdowns in parallels there, because it's not the militia, the
kitchen staff. The kitchen staff.
Yeah, they're not police officers. They're not like, you know, any kind of modern sensibilities that you have. Remember that modern sensibilities of what policing requires is dramatically different from how things were even 50 years ago. In the 70s, you know, before there's rid of surgeons, all those other things, it's a totally different situation. And then back that even further, you know, another 500, 600 years. So just make sure you adjust your expectations in terms of what they're going to know. You are absolutely right that that the serving staff will be privy to some of the, you know, of what's going on in the tavern, at least. So let's see here. Then when he arrived, I just want to make sure I got the timeline right for you guys here. You know, it's funny, the adventure reminds me a lot of a Call of Cthulhu adventure in the sense that there's like lots of things going on and there's a timeline going, because that's keeping the timing of everything straight is one of those things with Call of Cthulhu adventures that seems to always be an issue or a feature. So a month. It's been a month that he has been here. And it seems like he's been, we're seeing more and more kind of local ruffians and others kind of going up and beginning to get hired on with this guy. So, you know, if you intimate that you might be looking for work as well, too, or if you make any comment about your martial proficiency, they may say that, you know, you might be better off making money from working with Slim, because Slim, you know, he's paying if you're willing to, you know, if you're not going to question why you're doing certain things. Okay. So then we'll cut back to the rest of the guys. John, is Falcor just kind of listening in here, or you haven't had a?
Yeah, no, Falcor is more of a reserved kind of watch everything character. He's mostly focused on keeping his hawk from scratching people, because he's got the hood on. But
again, it's a rescue hawk. No.
Well, no, it's trained to defend him if needed, but it's hooded.
Okay.
No, basically, he's just trying to get to know the people he's around, because he's more, you know, he's reserved and doesn't step out of turn pretty much unless he's needed.
Okay. So, who is, remind me again, guys, sorry, who is heading upstairs with Store and Thomas?
Falcor's not going to be involved in shady crap. So.
Okay. So not Thomas. Who else is going? Maybe just put your name in chat if you're going. Oh, we all know. Otherwise, I'll assume you're hanging out in the main tap room. Okay, so it looks like it's only Store and Thomas then. Maybe Bruin.
Looks like Bruin's typing, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Lex is going as well, too. Okay. So the four of you guys head up only if someone directly asks Bruin. Got it. Okay. So Thomas, Store, and Lex, you guys head upstairs. You head down to the same door, and if, you know, in the film version of this, we've seen this passage before. We've seen this door before. You guys walk up to the third, what did I say? The third door on the right, on the second floor. And what do you guys do?
Go ahead, Mo.
I was going to say knock on the door.
Okay. You knock on the door, and you hear from inside, "Come in."
Okay, I'll open the door slowly and see what's in before I walk inside.
And what you see in there is, there's a guy who, actually, let me just bring it to the, this one here. Yeah, the Market Square. See that, seed-looking character right there? With the hooked nose and the buck teeth. He is standing in there with, again, like 4 guys who clearly shop at, like, Rogues R Us. So they are all, you know, there's daggers, there's, you know, leather armor, and one of them is on the ground kind of, you know, finishing, like, scrubbing something on the ground with a clearly blood-soaked rag. And the other 3 are kind of standing. They all look at you. the guy with the hooked nose is the one who has spoken to you because he looks at you. Yes, come in, come in.
We're looking for Slim.
And who's looking for Slim?
It's me.
Oh.
I'll talk. I'm Store, and this is my friend Thomas. We feel like you have. We are under the request of one of your protection members who was not properly protected, and they want their money back.
Oh, and who's that? And he kind of steps forward, and as he's moving forward, he's got this kind of like determined lot, like almost like a dancer's kind of grace to it. For such a hideous-looking guy, you wouldn't think he would be, quite that agile. But as he moves forward, you can see that the three sort of goons kind of keep going in. The other one keeps sopping at the ground and then splashing it back into this, red-stained water. And he says,
Cut yourself saving, did you?
Yeah, it's a problem down here. Now, who's the unhappy customer? Who's that who wants to have a chat with me? Who thinks he needs to spend money on guys like you? Eh? Tell me. And there's a little glint in his eye. That is not a friendly, it has a distinctly sinister connotation to it. His face looks almost feral at this point, too, with this like sneer. And his teeth are all yellowed and kind of pitted as well, too, and much bigger for his face than they should be. What did you say your name was again?
No one important. No need to get your hackles all up, you rat-faced hooligan. All we're here for is...
Who's calling who or what? Did you hear that, boys? He's calling that.
Dead.
And there's sort of... Yeah. Thomas, how are you reacting to this?
Rather ironically, I'm going to, not overtly, but put my hand on the sword. Well, you were supposed to be protecting the apothecary, and the unfortunate incident with the Yetis, which we dealt with when you should have been doing it, I think he wants a discount back, please.
Oh, tell me this. How many times have you heard of Yetis attacking us here?
Never, but there's several dead bodies.
Right. Unforeseen consequences. I protect against foreseen consequences. He wants to have protection from unseen consequences. He's got to pay more then.
So you ran away then?
I ran nowhere. How'd those things come in? How'd you know about the Yetis anyway? You lanky git.
We're the ones that killed them.
Oh, see? So job's done no ways. Cost him nothing, and the job's been protected. Sounds like if he's unhappy, you didn't stop the Yeti from destroying that shop nowhere. Did you?
We weren't paid for the protection.
He wants half of it back, and that's our fee.
I want to be more handsome and 3 feet taller. But we don't always get what we want, do we?
No, but there are about 8 of us downstairs, so do you want to cause trouble? And don't forget, the guards owed us a few favours, so you want to keep your business going?
You see, my son, like you've got, and he sort of leans forward. I'm assuming you guys are still in the hallway here and you haven't actually gone into the room, but he leans up and he says, why don't you step inside my chamber, my son, and we'll have this talk nice and proper. And you're free to bring your 8 friends if you like. Though if you think you've got eye standing with the guards, you might find that your friends are not as friendly as you think they are. What is your name, my friend?
You can call me Tom.
Tom. Well, Tom, you care to step inside with me?
I'll look sideways at Hobbs.
Hobbs, you can definitely read that these the guy who was mopping up the water, he's up now too. So there's 4 of these guys plus there's Slim.
Seems like stepping inside the rat's nest is the wrong idea for upstanding gentlemen like myself and Tom here.
And what's your name, my friend, the upstanding gentleman? The one so concerned with people and their protection? The one who seemed unable to do the protection they seem to claim that I should have been performing. Isn't that right, boys? And they're like,
Maybe we should just find out about Ehrlich and be done with this.
I don't know what kind of circles you're trying to talk, but it's confusing enough. If you want to fight, come out and I'll take your ass down. But if you don't, then why don't you just pay up the money?
I've got a third option here. And he steps back, he says,
I'll hold out my hand with the guinea.
The third
hand on
person
the
did
hilt.
it as many hours.
as you
Jesus.
guys make your way, so as you guys are doing this, one of the doors opens and there's some merchants who kind of, or some, a mercenary who's accompanied by two very beautiful, no doubt, paid ladies for his company. And they sort of walk by. Slim sort of watches this happen. He says, "Winter's in, my friends. You're in my walls now. We'll talk about this again. And tell me, it's the apothecary, ain't it? Atsu sent ya.
You sure seem to know a lot about it.
I know a lot about a lot many things, my friend. You'll see. You'll see a lot." And you hear the guys behind him.
I just hope the last thing you see isn't my blade.
Is your hand still out, Thomas?
Yeah, sort of like that.
He
Other hand
spits
on
in
the
it.
sword.
You take that
How
back to
close
him.
is he to me at this point?
What's that?
How close is he to me at this point?
Oh yeah, melee range.
I'll kick him in the balls.
So
Now
let's
it's
just
initiative
make
time,
sure that you
so-
guys are understanding consequences of actions.
Yeah. I don't-
You starting a fight, this guy could kill you. Full self-defense.
Okay.
Just FYI.
Oh, that's fighting thing spitting at someone. I'll kick him in the balls and slam the door and go downstairs.
You're gonna try. Okay, so you can try. So go ahead and make an attack roll.
God.
Because what I'm hearing is I'm going to try and hit someone with an unarmed attack, then I'm going to incur an attack of opportunity. Hold on, let's do this first. Let's roll for surprise. I'm going to see if he's surprised. He is not
Maybe.
surprised. John's already put the astonishing fortune in.
Yes, do it.
Why would we need that, John?
Seems like the appropriate time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who Lex is going to call for when shit goes down, because he doesn't really talk to too many people yet. I'm like, this could be challenging. Who might answer our summons?
Okay.
I'm using that as a proxy for my foot.
Okay, so yeah, you try and kick him, but he is far too nimble. He gets back from this, and then you turn and run, or you try and slam the door, I guess.
Yep.
I think the way that we've been describing this, you're all sort of in the way, so you can't really slam the door without like shoving them back in some way. Because
They're back close. In that case, I'll just go back downstairs.
Okay, so you swing it and turn and run.
Time
Store
Time
and
for the
Lex,
drop,
what are you guys doing? Let's do
I'm
this
going to
actually. Hold on. That was a bit of a surprise thing. So Store and Lex, you did not. It doesn't sound like you guys talked through this before. So he swings at him and turns and runs downstairs. Store and Lex, what are you guys doing?
I'll try and diffuse the situation.
Yeah, whoa.
Drop out, tap
You don't
my
even know
blade
him.
and not prepare to bring it out unless you go, it seems like a fair response to anyone spitting on anyone, if you ask me. But there's no need to draw blood here, boys.
Okay.
But I'm more than willing if we have to.
Okay, so you sort of step. Am I picturing that you're sort of stepping in the way of the hallway so they can't just pursue after?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see Slim kind of puts his hand up, and his you can see his arm is like you see in the picture there. His arm is super skinny as well too. Almost like he's got just bone and muscle on it. He said, "Hold on. Your friend seems to be a bit agitating. Pretty easily. That's a bad habit to have.
That's what I've heard. It's good to see that you don't have the same bad habits, or at least this one. So, as you say, we'll talk again, right?
I'll tell you what. Your friend, the apothecary, if he don't want my protection, he ain't got it. But there's no such thing as full refunds. Here's what we'll do. We'll give him... And he opens up this purse, this change purse. It seems to come from nowhere on his person. Let's see. We'll give him 50 gold pieces. And he kind of flourishes them like a magician with cards. And they're kind of playing their way across his hands. 50 gold pieces. And we'll call it a day. Services rendered and all that. Contract terminated. And if he don't like it, well then, he can come talk to me himself. Can he? And he reaches forward to as if it's to give it to you. Do you put your hand out there, Store?
No, I motion for Lex to take it, and I keep my hand resting on the pommel of my sword.
Okay. So he looks over at you, Lex. That long, skinny hand kind of goes over and reaches out as if it's going to put something down. Are you going to take it?
Yeah, Lex put his hand up.
Okay. So he puts it down, and he's about to put it in your hand. He says, "Oh, one more thing, my friends. What's your name? So's I can tell the apothecary who's got his money."
He wants your name, Lex.
Yeah, both of you.
He wants both of our names.
I'd said my name multiple times, so.
I don't think you did, actually. Did you?
Oh.
You danced around it a bit. That's why he keeps pushing at it. You're like, no need to know my friend, my name.
I guess you'll just have to find out by the crier's words. We're here now. We aim to stay for a while.
And what? So did you give him your name?
No.
No.
Because he ain't giving the money unless you give his name.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I thought Thomas gave his name, didn't he?
Thomas
We're
did.
Towns too.
Yeah.
We're Towns too.
Thomas as well, eh? And you?
Bruin.
Bruin. He puts the money in your hand, and the way he drops it, it sort of like stacks up into a perfect little stack of coins. Pleasure doing business with you, Thomas too, and Bruin. We'll be seeing you. You can count on that. And tell your friend, he best be faster next time. And he steps inside, and he says, "Now, Eric, finish cleaning that up. We've got to get rid of that before sunrise." And the door shuts behind him. So,
All right.
we see Thomas come running down the stairs into the main area. And what were you planning to stick in your seat again there, Thomas? Or were you expecting everyone else to be following you? Oh, you're muted, Mo.
Jeff isn't really listening to us anymore because I'm sure he would have made a face when
When I use
Dave
his
used
name.
his name Bruin.
No,
Yeah.
I was there.
I'm like,
I don't know what he's done. You can
Yeah.
use any name up, right? You don't have to use my name.
Okay, so
But Bruin doesn't know this yet.
yeah, the logic behind that was Lex was trying to think of who he's going to call to for help, and he's got Bruin's name on the tip of his tongue to shout out, and then the guy asks him for his name. He's like, "Oh, Bruin." It's like,
Oh, great.
okay. Now, so as you run back down, Brandon. So how goes CareGen?
Pretty good. I've got a mage character.
Ooh,
I'm
cool.
Catching up on. Yeah.
Let's see here.
So we get back down to the table, and I'll let Bruin know things didn't go as well as planned, and may have been. I was thinking about shouting your name out if things went really downhill, and then he asked me for mine, and I just spit it out. And I look over at Store, and I'm like, I told him my name was Bruin, so he thinks that you have the apothecary's money.
Well, You've added a lot of mud to your face around here. My name doesn't exactly carry a lot of weight.
Oh, then it won't be tarnished too much then.
Doubt it.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah,
I'll buy you a drink.
And also, it's not. It was a little mean spirited when they said it, but someone at home has suggested a drinking game so every time Mo has audio issues, then you take a drink.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
It's my elderly PC. Hangout seems to sometimes just drop the connection. I think if you lose sound.
Yeah. So what?
Kiddie stuff from Google again.
Yeah. What you guys? I guess come back down and Lex. So you've got the money, and I think the expectation is you're going to be able to. Well, at least what the deal was with the apothecary was to keep half of whatever you recover and give it back. Or I guess that's not what he said. What he said was get the 150 back, and then you can keep half of that. Oh, Arlen, you're muted.
Okay, what I was gonna say was what he said was we bring 150 back and we can have 75 of it, not we get half of whatever we bring back.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
So in other words, he owes us another 25 gold.
Yeah.
And his contract is terminated.
Yeah, fill everyone in on what's going on, and I would expect some sort of retaliation from Slim's gang on the apothecary, which is why I really didn't want to say who it was.
Oh, so
And there was a big puddle of blood they were cleaning up in the room. So if Ehrlich was the last person to go in there, draw your own conclusions.
Now with what do you call it? What Oswald also picks up is again that like Slim's been here for about a month, and there's more and more people who are taking up rooms that are sort of thrown in with him. So Oswald can tell you that like this is effectively kind of has become the de facto base of operations for Slim and his organization. If you guys are looking for somewhere to sleep, maybe somewhere else would be a good idea.
Yeah, I've already decided I don't want to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to get out of this place.
Okay, so let's look at Bryn Shander again too. So what are you guys thinking here? How does this affect your plans in terms of what you want to do and where you want to go?
Well, obviously he seems to be setting some up sort of alternate power base. Whether there's a thieves guild here or whether he's trying to set up a thieves guild, it certainly looks like that. Just less well behaved than the ones I'm used to back down in the civilized south.
Hey now.
So what our choices are what? Geldenstag's Rest and Kelvin's Comfort.
Yeah,
right?
and the difference between the two, Geldenstag's Rest is that place that is run by that widow who was her husband died when two mercenary groups kind of got at it in the common room, and as such, she kind of runs a fairly tight ship, and it kind of has her nose in everyone's business. It also means it's a little more secure because she keeps tabs on everybody coming and going in that place. And Kelvin's Comfort is the place that is run by what's a tavern actually? It's not an inn.
Okay, so there is no other inn.
Yeah, so there you go.
Eldon Stag sounds like a decent place to stay, and hopefully our reputation with dealing with the Yetis will help.
I'm a little concerned about bringing trouble in for this widow who already lost a husband to such things, but I don't really know that we have another choice. I also think that maybe, how far away is Geldenstag's Rest from, it looks like it's the opposite side of town from the apothecary, right?
Yes, it is, yeah.
I think that we should send like a watch to the apothecary or something to see if something happens, we can come back and help or whatever. Or
we should at least let the apothecary know what happened, and they might need to seek out additional protection of a different sort.
I'm wondering if that protection shouldn't be us.
Yeah.
Well, could be.
Sort of what I'm proposing, I think.
And the way Slim was talking, it sounds like he might have his fingers into some of the guards. At least that he implied that there was, good luck getting help from your friends.
Mm-hmm.
So that might not be a course of action should we go that route. Going to the guards.
If they're dead. You're not their friend anymore.
No, but if we go to the
Well,
guards,
he's dead.
and if we go to the guards and he does have contacts there, they'll either block us or they'll know what's going on.
Mhm.
We don't want
Well-
to add to his numbers.
No. Yeah, I think maybe if some of us volunteer to sleep in the shop overnight, because it's quite near Kelvin's comfort, isn't it?
You know, they say that there's never as good a sleep as you get in a ruined apothecary shop, complete with fumes.
Well,
I could
assume
just roll powder keg.
Guys,
Let's
I'm
stay at the
getting.
rest.
Hold on, just one second. I'm getting some pretty heavy breathing from somebody. Someone needs to move their mic away from their mouth a little bit. I'm trying to
It's
see
not
who
for
that is.
Brandon.
I don't think it's me. It's
No.
No, your mic's away
Andrew,
too.
I think.
Anyone who's got their mic right next to their face, maybe just move it away a scooch, and we'll see if we can identify what the problem is.
not me.
Clearly, it's the session is getting tense when we got heavy breathing. And okay.
What's that meme? Breathing intensifies.
Yes. All right. So, if the plan is then, I guess, to leave here, your tab is going to be picked up by the caravan guards and by the town watch. They're quite happy to do that. But if you're going to have your what do you call it? Your thing paid otherwise, your room paid for, you'll just want to go and get it transferred over to Geldenstag's Rest instead of here.
Yeah, let's do
So
that.
the only thing, Brandon, what I need is just, have you rolled your hit points yet?
not yet. I can do that.
Okay, so let's do that. That's the only thing I need from you, and then I'll get your token set up.
You want to take a bio break while he finishes?
Yeah,
that
yeah,
up?
we'll take. Let's do this. We're about halfway through our session right now. Let's take our mid-session break right now, guys. We'll come back in 5, and then we will continue on, and I'll get that token set up, and then we'll carry on with the adventure. So back in a couple minutes here, folks.
Okay.
It's cut out.
So what kind of mage you making, Brendan?
I don't know. That's the problem. I don't know how. I forgot how mages work in second edition.
Don't recommend illusionist. They don't get any fun attack spells.
Yeah, I think given the background, I'm just probably gonna go with mage as a broad, the non-specialist mage.
Oh, you want the one spell per day then? At least
Yeah,
special.
well, it fits given the character concept.
Necromancer. Make a necromancer.
Nah, it's just somebody who stole the spell and just managed to pick it up. So like that's kind of yeah. That's so it kind of fits that they only know one at this point. Yeah, that works. I was thinking about playing like somebody who is looking for my other character, but it just time-wise, it just doesn't make sense in the timeline. But
True.
well, that's what I get for showing up late. I didn't expect to live that anyway. I'm surprised last session he's like, oh no, he's not dead yet. I'm like, really?
Well, he showed up. Now he's dead. It's official.
I know.
He was what Schrodinger's cat for a minute.
Yeah. I thought that if I had the opportunity, I kind of wish I would have had the opportunity to role play like an interrogation scene because that would have been kind of fun, even if it would have ended in me dying. But his real name will never be known.
Or his final resting place.
Yeah, or that too. If this character dies, I might after some time I might play somebody up like coming to look for him, but that's I don't think it's gonna happen. What am
I
I?
like the necromancer idea. I think that's actually.
You'd have to be a secret necromancer.
What can you do at a first level as a first level necromancer anyway?
I don't think they get additional. I think you just get an additional necromancer spell, right?
Well, you get additional. You get to prepare one of your specialized spell in addition to the one you get per day. So let's see what we get here.
Oh, 2. That sucks.
Yeah, it does.
2 hit points. All right. Well, there I go.
Well, do you have a con mod? You get if you do, you get at least +1. Oh, what?
No,
Oh.
just 2.
Don't trip and fall off a 5-foot ladder. You might die.
I know exactly.
see. Illusion. You get Chill Touch, which was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's also some other spells in other books that you might get access to, but Necromancy is very lacking. The only Chill Touch is what you can prepare. Plus whatever universal spell you know.
Yeah, that's going to match with my recollections that there aren't too many necromancy spells at first level in second edition.
Yeah, I like sucky characters, so that's probably why it appeals to me.
Yeah, I'm completely okay with sucky characters.
Yeah.
Well, Chill Touch isn't bad, but I mean, you get an option for living things to do damage and reduce their strength, and undead run like they're crazy. Poke, running undead. You don't have to be an evil necromancer.
Yeah, I know.
You can be using it for good.
Nah, I know. It's just that, yeah, the concept. So the idea is that, and actually, I'm sure, I assume Kev would be okay with that. My character is actually a dude who was hit with like a magical paint bomb. They stole it. That made him look like the ex of the wizard, of the librarian, of the place that he stole the spell, and in a non-flattering way. So that's hopefully that'll be. If I'm fixed with this permanent illusion spell.
Calling me at midnight.
I'm excited about this wizard.
Oh, it's don't be. All 2 hit points.
My hawk has more hit points than you do.
Yeah.
What spell did you get?
Oh, do I have to randomly roll for it?
I don't know.
No, you get to pick your starting spells, but afterwards Kevin's in charge.
I know. I'm picking sleep then, because if I'm gonna get a first level spell, and that's all I've got going for me, it's sleep.
You get a cantrip. I think you get a number of spells in addition to that as well.
Okay.
Charm person could be pretty nasty in this game.
Yeah, that could actually be useful. Oh.
Between charm person and my, because I have command twice a day too.
What intelligence did you start with?
Mine was 17.
Okay, because I think he let Dorman start with a number of spells equal to his languages learned, and you get cantrip as a bonus.
Oh wow. Okay.
All right. Just quickly checking the chat here, guys. Oh, hey, Pete from Garblag Games here. Howdy, howdy. Hey, Brian. Hey, William. Fred. What's shaking? Ack. Oh, thanks, Ack. Part of the adventure is finding the adventure. Love it. That's totally true. Let's see here. Ice King, cast magic missile. Absolutely. Luring at its best. You know it. Okay. Vadim, howdy, howdy. Vadim wants to know how I'm going to challenge 9 players. 2 simple words for you. Fang Dragon.
I said roleplay, the ultimate challenge.
Yeah. Prophet was shaken. Okay. Cool. All right. And we are... let's see. We got everyone back now. Yeah, George is back as well, too. Cool. All right. So let's quickly... Oh, you got to roll 2 twice there, Brandon. You take the highest of your 2. You roll...
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. Maybe I'll actually be survivable. Maybe. Okay.
3. Whopping
3 hit points.
Hey,
yeah.
you just improved your hit points by 50%, so...
I know. There we go.
Not bad at all. So if you got that entered, I will get your token set up here.
How many? I heard a rumor that you give more than 1 starting spell.
That is... it's on the house rules. You have to take a look at they're posted...
I was looking at that, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. Where are you? Grim. Okay, character. Okay, your Thakos that. Yep. All right. Okay, let me just get your hit points set here. Okay. There we are. Oh, come on. It's great that you can have such a wide variety of things you can set as the different, like have it auto calculate from your character sheet, but it is a pain in the ass sometimes when there's a massive list of like things that won't apply. Like there's calculations like your encumbrance and things like that. And, like I don't want that on my token. So, all right. So Grim, there we go. All right. So I think that what we'll say is, so Grim, you know someone. What's your thoughts as to why she's in, what do you call it? Why is she in Bryn Chandler? Because she would have arrived before the caravan.
Yeah, I think so she's been there for a bit, or he's been there for a bit, actually.
Is it a he that's described as or disguised as a woman, or what?
It's a he that has a permanent illusion spell cast on him because he stole a spell, and that was like a magical paint bomb. Like a magical paint tag that exploded in his face and makes him look like an ex of the wizard that he stole the spell from.
Okay.
So yeah. And it's permanent. I mean, and there's permanent things that unflattering appearances of her that will come up later. But he's been basically paranoid because he keeps thinking that these wizards are going to come looking for him.
Okay.
Because he was a carpenter at Candlekeep, and he
does he sound like a man or sound like a woman?
Yes, he sounds very much like a man.
And he introduces himself as a man.
Yes, because the voice comes through totally.
Okay.
So it's just easier for him to introduce himself is by Grim.
Okay.
So this is his real name, but
okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So then, why do you think Grim would be up here?
Probably because he's on the run, and he's probably been asking around. He heard of a new caravan arriving, and he keeps thinking with every new caravan, there's going to be somebody here looking for him. So he's probably been poking around.
Let's just back up for a second here. Guys, just as we've got a lot of players for this. It's a team sport. What I need is if you lose your character and you're bringing someone in, there needs to be buy-in from that character. I'm not going to have to... to be frank, too much of a pain in the ass to come up with some reason for why that. So I need you to bring a reason for why this character is going to interact with the rest of them. So why do you think that Grim is? Why? Who do you think like? And any of the players, you guys can feel free to give reasons for why they might know this person. But I mean, like, is this something that's happened recently? Does Grim recognize someone that he used to be like maybe Store? Because Store has been a caravan traveler for some time. Cola has been working outside of the Icewind Dale for a while, so you may have heard about the Icewind Dale from him. But I mean, if he's disguised from where he is, that's going to present some challenges for just having easy integration of the character. It's great that you're wanting to create this cool kind of backstory, but like with this many players, that's not what this game's about. So you got to make it something that's a little easier to integrate to what the group is doing. So I don't mean to be,
No, it's okay. No, it's a good point.
I think it'd be perfectly fine if through his years of travel, Cola had met Grim, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
And then at some point, maybe they worked together on something for a couple months, and in that time, maybe Cola just mentioned where he was from, and it sounded like a really kind of tucked away, good place to go if you're looking to get away from the world for a while.
And if he's got this illusory disguised or cursed man, that may make sense for why the why the what do you call it? Why he would remember him? Because it's the guy who looks like a woman.
Grim's always looking for work because he's broke. So I think
if
he knows Cola, then he can with that. So
okay, okay. So I'm not going to play this for laughs. Only because like
fair enough.
For me, it gets a little uncomfortably close to making light of like trans issues and things like that. So like, let's just be very, very careful with how we're role playing this character.
Sure.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. Because we don't want this to come across like a '70s British sitcom.
No.
So all right. So with that said, so then let's say that in the course of when you guys are sitting in the main area there. Cola, you maybe stagger off to hit the privy or something like that, and you recognize that Grim. Where do you think you would be sitting in the inn? Would you could have traveled up with Jabari if you want.
Jabari
was the guy that Store was talking to.
I just think that he's probably sitting. I think that he's probably just sitting there, minding his drink.
Okay.
And if Cola comes in, he recognizes him. But
yeah, sure.
That's going to be the caravan.
So you maybe have missed him. So at this point, Cola, you do recognize Grim, and like the last time you saw him, it may have been in the streets of Waterdeep. Hundreds of miles to the south.
Yeah, I'll squint eyes and make sure I know it's him, and then kind of make my way through the crowd, not drawing much attention to myself, just like as if I'm just kind of making my way through normally.
Sure.
And I'll even like kind of like maybe, well, no, I'm not gonna make a scene. I'm just gonna casually sit down at his table.
Okay. Grim, you recognize this guy?
Cola. Hey, did you hear about the new caravan coming in?
I might have.
Any suspicious looking types on the caravan?
Oh, I see. I see old habits die hard with you, don't they?
Yeah.
I was on the last caravan that came in.
Man's got to look after his look his own back,
Plenty of suspicious characters on it, but I was one of those, so.
Yeah.
How are you keeping, Grim?
Hey, you wouldn't have any ideas about where to find some good work, would you?
You mean other than caravan work?
Well, man's gotta eat, right? And you see that his face is kind of like involuntarily turning into this like mid-sneeze look the entire time. You're probably familiar with it and know not to read too much into it, but.
All right. What brings you up here?
Me? I'm just Looking for work. Not a lot of carpentry that needed in this time of year. I don't think. I hear there's some Yetis busted in though.
Aye, there were a few. I mean, why here in Bryn Shander of all places?
I just think it'd be a nice place to get away, get some fresh air. Right?
Fresh air.
Man, I was looking for some skilled labour, as I see it.
Right, Grim, you know me. What is wrong?
Oh, I'm just look, I might have. That might be something I lifted off somebody once upon a time who might be looking for it. I just want to make sure nobody in the caravan fits that description.
Wait, do you imagine, like, at the time when we kind of interacted last time, had Grim shared with Cola, like, the details of why he was kind of on the run, and like, is this a familiar story to Cola, or is this new to him?
Probably familiar, but he hasn't gone into the details about it.
Oh, okay,
But, like,
all right.
just, yeah, that he's because I think he trusts Cola, and so I think he's
All
willing
right.
to share that with him.
So,
So I see it's the same old. Well, I tell you what. If you're looking to lay low, all right, fine. It's a good place for you. I know one or
Cola's
two.
boards up here.
I have a few friends. Maybe perhaps we can help you maintain a low profile. Maybe even find some work. We've got a few. We have a few jobs we could potentially. We're exploring. Maybe one of them would be something you'd be interested in.
Anybody needs to be put to sleep. I'm your man for that.
You mean that figuratively or literally?
More the literal sense, mate.
Hey, all right. It's good to see you again, Grim. All right.
Let me know we're here.
Well, if you fancy to meet the lads, you come over here with me, and I'll gesture over to our table.
Okay.
I'll be happy to.
So you guys are introduced to. Brandon, if you could please change your display name to your character name too.
I thought it. Oh yeah. My apologies.
Okay. And then let's see here. You guys also will want to make sure that you do not forget old Oswald behind as well too. Oswald has ensconced himself in the kitchen like, I've got a great job here, and then someone pops their head and you're like, we're leaving.
I come back a few days later and he's got the run of the kitchen. He's head chef.
Yeah, no kidding. I could be running this whole organization pretty soon. I go with the group. Of course.
Okay.
If we need to ever poison Slim, that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, well, I think what Oswald has definitely made inroads sufficiently that, like, you guys, he definitely has made those contacts. So if you do need to come back, in addition to the way that Store seemed to have allies here, what's his name? Oswald likewise will now as well. Okay, let's see here. I just need to finish resizing something here, guys. Gotta get this Fang Dragon in here. John's shaking his head. Nope! We're not having that bullshit here. Alright, so then, guys, what happens next is you guys all kind of collect up together. It seems as if Grim will be accompanying you as well. And then you guys head to... There we go. Head out towards Geldenstag's Rest. You pass by Market Square and you can see that everything is closed down. But it's around the time when you get to Market Square when you can see off to the southeast there's something strange. Like above the sky is perfectly clear, and like it is freezing out here too. It's getting close to like for Celsius it's about -25. And for, I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, to be honest.
That's balmy.
Balmy,
probably,
yeah.
Probably about -10.
Yeah, so it's like, for sure, if he had been out here on here, like, without any clothing, he for sure would have died. And you can see above in this sky, there's a beautiful, shimmering, kind of like little tendrils of green. It's the Forgotten Realms equivalent of the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights, going. But then, I think Brune and Cola, you can see that to the south there is an even more vibrant green glow that is coming, and smoke that's billowing up into the cloudless, shimmering sky. In addition, you can start to hear shouts from down in that direction. What are you guys doing?
Towards
Pointing
the
out the
speaker's
fire to
palette.
everyone.
Yes, you pointed out. The glow, however, is not an orange. It is green as well. So what do you guys do? It's also in the direction of, to be honest, in the direction of where the apothecary's shop is.
Ooh.
Great.
I think Slim got a jump start and was beating the crap out of him.
Yeah, I think we need to hustle down to there, I think.
I
Okay.
think we should go check it out.
Okay.
Yep.
So you guys go racing down in that direction. As you're getting closer, what you can see, because again, like everything is only about one story in here anyway, so it's easy to see over a lot of these buildings. When you get to some of the clear, like the thoroughfares that allow a better vantage of different parts of town, you can see green flames dancing over a building. And as you get closer to where the apothecary shop is, you realize it's actually not there. It's a little further north from that, towards where Brune and Cola would know, and Store as well for that matter, where the warehousing area is. So as you head over there, you can see there's more people kind of running along, because like a lot of small towns, there's not like a fire department or anything like that. It's everyone pitching in trying to put stuff out. So if you guys want to make your way down there, whether to help with the fire or not, what you find is a warehouse has been completely ablaze with greenish flames. Now, let's see here. Who might know something about this? Grim, why don't you give me an intelligence check, please?
Will do.
So you can't click on the character sheet. You'll just have to roll d20, and then
Yep.
What's your intelligence?
17.
Nice. Okay.
Okay.
So I mean, this may be obvious to you keen or canny experienced D&D players. This is not a natural fire. This was likely either caused by something else, or something in there is being consumed that's causing this greenish flame. I don't think any of you have ever seen anything like this before. So the townsfolk are all sort of pitching in and rushing and trying to, get a water brigade going or a bucket brigade to try and get this water out. They're calling in, or trying to call in the clerics to try and assist with this as well. Do you guys take any, do you guys pitch in to try and help fight this fire, or do you just sort of leave it as is?
I'm a paladin in training, so I would help to put out the fire and
Yeah.
either help out.
Okay.
I was just going to say, this seems a little weird. Maybe we should spread out and look around to see if we can see what caused the fire.
Yeah, you do that. I'm a cleric. I'm tending to wounds,
Okay.
Yeah, same.
and I'll actually use my spells on like anybody that's close to death.
Okay.
Grim is going to fumble through his spell book to see if he can find something, and there's nothing. But
Okay.
he thinks there might be something in that.
So
Brune's just gonna help fight the fire.
you gonna help? Okay.
Yeah.
Is there someone that looks like they're in charge there?
There's likely by a certain point there's a guard who's decided that he's it's probably a sergeant in the militia. He's sort of taken charge of organizing the fire brigade, and they're sort of are the bucket brigade, and they've got people going running a train of water back and forth from a nearby well.
Okay, I'll ask him. Are there anyone inside? Do we know?
We don't know so far, but I mean, and he kind of gestures to it. Whoever's in there.
So it's quite far gone, is it? The building. It's not just like.
It's at that point where, like, it's clear that it's not going to be salvageable. What they're doing right now is really trying to prevent the fire from spreading elsewhere in town. They're soaking buildings next to it to prevent the fire from jumping from it to something else. But it oddly seems to be either they're proving to be very successful in it, or this flame is just consuming the one building.
So no one's checked?
If anyone's inside, it's not safe. Yeah. You're welcome to do so, but this is like, it is a complete conflagration at this point. Anyone stepping in there is gonna, unless you've got some, way of making yourself immune to fire, you would, even getting close to it, it burns hotter than what you would expect from fire. Like maybe it's the size of the blaze, maybe it's the green flames, but whatever it is, it's, it is incredible. And everything around here too is cast in this eerie green illumination as well too.
Okay, I'll help with the bucket brigade then.
Okay, so everyone, sounds like most people are jumping in on this. This lasts until like the wee hours of morning, and it's freezing too, because like everyone who's getting water splashed on them too, that's freezing is ice too. So I think what the clerics are treating in a lot of cases is cases of frostbite. But yeah, by morning the warehouse itself has been burned down to ashes, but thanks to your efforts and the efforts of the Bucket Brigade, it did not spread to anywhere else. And I think when you see when you see what's happened here, or as you're in the aftermath of this, and sort of everyone's, making sure everyone's okay. People are bringing food out to the rescuers. The owner of the warehouse has come out, as well as all the merchants who had their stuff in there. It's obviously a scene of, like, there's a lot of pissed off people. There's a lot of people who are, they've lost livelihoods for things that were supposed to be stored for the winter season in there. And what you're also hearing is a fair bit of Speaker DeVessa's name being bandied about as, like, this is just the latest bullshit from her. Like, what more things can we, like, we need, and it's not like that people are clearly agitating, it's a clear change in sentiment. That's the first thing they're looking to blame. Brune, you would know this. Cola, you would know this. Store, you would know this. Like, people seem ready to say, like, well, this is the latest thing she didn't fucking do.
Right.
So, in the midst of this, you see, do you remember Mithran, the priest of Coralon, or not Coralon, of Aurenda? What's his name? Amonitor.
Amonitor?
Yeah, Amonitor, the Morning Lord. And actually, I don't think it's called the Morning Lord anymore, because I think, what's his name, died. Lathander died at some point in the fiction. But anyway, this is her. She's making her way around, and like most of you guys, you're all, like, your faces are full of soot, and your beards are full of ice and snow. You're cold, you're aching, you're hungry. And she sees you through the crowd of people, because most, like, a good chunk of the population showed up to try and help fight this thing. Brune, she recognizes you once again, and says, you're here again.
Yeah.
It's either...
up here again.
Did you see what happened? Have you heard?
No. Not at all.
It says, so the Yeti, now this. Brune, if I didn't know better, I'd think that you were turning over a better leaf here.
Huh. It would appear that way today.
Can I talk to you about something?
I guess so.
As the music gets really ominous.
So she pulls you aside, and you guys can see her, she pulls Brune aside, and she says, listen, I know that things I know that I have not always been the most approving of how you have chosen to live your life. But I think that you are a good man. And with how things have been going here, I don't know who here can remain trustworthy. But you've been gone when these changes have come, and I'm going to assume that the Morning Lord has brought you to my attention through your good deeds for a reason. I had a friend who I am concerned about. Do you know of the Harpers? And I think you as a Bruin would know, definitely. The Harpers are like that. I think we talked about it in the Care-Gen session. It's sort of like they're a good aligned organization in the Western Forgotten Realms who kind of, like fight evil organizations. They're sort of like the, I'm trying to think what an analogy would be. They're like a benevolent secret society, kind of, but not so secret.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you didn't know that the Harpers were actors. She says I had a friend in town named Aaron, and I'll spell that for you. It's got Forgotten Realms spelling of Aaron. Good old D&D spelling. So Aaron? No, there's a U and an apostrophe.
Okay, Robert Jordan.
Yeah.
And a silent L.
Mithrin's...
There's got to be a silent L in there, Kev. Come on, what's going on?
So,
Hammer and goblins.
What, you may have heard that there have been a number of Luskins that have arrived in town. And for what I understand, the Luskins organize themselves, that thug state organizes themselves into gangs called ships. And there's a ship that came into town, and Aaron had suspicions that some among them were afflicted with the moon curse.
Do I know what that is?
That is lycanthropy.
Yeah, no, but does Bruin know
Yes,
that?
Bruin, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. That's something, that's one of those, like, the sort of, there isn't a, like, zombie plague in D&D, but the closest equivalent for that kind of panic of, like, spread through contact and spread through, violence is lycanthropy. It's a terrifying prospect of having that, spread within town. And what he thought was that some among them were afflicted with the rodent or rat strain of the moon curse. That some of these came in as unnatural, cursed creatures. And to that end...
Troubling.
Aaron, troubling indeed. And Aaron had secured... We were intent on ensuring that we would have the means to fight these things, to combat these creatures. And to that end, he secured silvered weapons. As you know, the light of the lunar metal, it burns through their flesh like a hot knife through butter. On the day that you arrived, I wrote to Aaron to arrange a meeting. We sought to try and keep things as secretive and as to prevent them from knowing. Their types are said to be able to transform and hide as rats themselves. And in this city, those rats are everywhere. We could not tell where their eyes were, so we best thought it was secret. So I wrote to him to arrange a meeting between him and a local. I think you know him. Aglanel? And you actually do know Aglanel. Aglanel is a half-elf hunter who kind of like, ranges outside of Bryn Shander. You don't know him well necessarily, but you know of him, I think?
Yeah, that's what I would say. I do know of him.
Okay. He had a run-in with these thugs recently, and we intended to meet up to share information. I wrote to him the day that the attack came, the day that you arrived. I've heard nothing from him, and now, and she looks, the warehouse has been burned.
This warehouse was connected?
Well, hi, sweetie. The warehouse was not. The warehouse was not, but we took great pains to ensure that the silvered weapons arrived by without notice, or such efforts as we could. We used a man named Dunavan to secure them.
They were inside this warehouse?
Not this warehouse, but
well, thank goodness.
What reason you saw those flames? Did they strike you as natural?
Not at all.
With Aaron missing and an unnatural fire burning down a warehouse, and knowing these thugs that are coming to try to seize power in this region, it seems to me too much a coincidence.
I would agree. Troubling times here.
I don't know what we did to call this the trouble with the tribesmen, though I hear that they spared the life of that elk tribesman. Thank the Morning Lord. If the last we need is for the beasts and the ragged tribesmen coming down here. The elk are one of the only remaining friends we have left on the tundra. Brune, I can't be seen to be meeting, but if you could speak to Dunavan, recover those weapons. If you could speak to Alganel, learn what he knew. If you truly wish to help the town, there is a threat that needs to be rooted out here, and only those silvered weapons will prove the tools necessary to do so.
So who has the weapons?
The weapons, and she kind of looks around to make sure that no one overhears this. The weapons are secured in the warehouse of a merchant named Dunavan. And you probably know him. Dunavan he's one of the merchants who commissions larger caravans to go in and out of Bryn Shander, or the Icewind Dale and elsewhere.
Okay. You wish me to speak to them?
If you could speak to him, collect the crates, tell him that... And she looks back and forth, and she hands you a note. This should convince him that I sent you.
Okay, I take the note. And where should I bring these crates?
One second here. Oh, one second, guys. Just gonna quickly check something here. I don't know. We could... You have no place here. Is there a place in the wild where they could be secured? Or perhaps somewhere else in town that you might know? Or perhaps one of your companions?
I can ask my group, see if anyone knows of a secure location.
I could keep them. If you collect the weapons, we had secured sufficient weaponry to outfit a fairly substantial force. We hope to bring many arms to bear against this, but now, in the time since, and with Aaron missing, too many people have gone missing and not been seen again in recent days, and they seem all connected with those Luskan strangers.
And is Slim a Luskan?
I'm trying to think. I think you know that, yeah. Yeah, because Sword knew that. Sword heard of him from his time in Luskan.
Okay. I will do what I can. Let me speak with my crew.
Please. And she looks around. once this is all over, at the there's the people milling around with soot all over them too. There's the smoldering ruins of that warehouse. There's people bickering over how they're going to, get on. There's one merchant who's just wandering around, a look of daze on his, like, stunned on his face, tears running down his face, themselves freezing on his cheeks. I will be back in Assault at the shrine. You can find me there.
Okay.
Please. Though you have the note.
Yes.
I trust you will do what is best. I see now. The Morning Lord has brought you back for a purpose. And she kind of gives you a weary smile and then turns and walks away.
As soon as she turns and walks away, and she's far enough away, Bruin leans over on the building and pukes.
Okay.
All the drinks, and then the acrid smoke from the blue fire has made him quite ill.
Yeah.
He was just holding it together the whole time he was talking to her.
Now, who among you guys do you think saw Brune talking to Mithran? Who would have been keeping a careful eye out for that?
Well, as the bucket line wound down, Lex was going to go do a little walk around. So I don't know if because he's trying to observe what's going on in each of the alleys or streets leading up to the fire.
Yeah.
Store was trying to do
Boot
that.
tracks and stuff are going to be hard to figure out. Yeah, it's going to be hard to figure out boot tracks, but there might be something amiss that.
Sure. I think that it is. Well, why don't I do this? Store and Lex, why don't you each give us a wisdom check? So it's a d20, and you want to roll lower than your wisdom score. And the lower you roll, the better your result. Nat 1. That's amazing. So, Store, you are wandering around through and that's a really great roll there too, Lex. Jeez. So what you find, Store? You guys are looking around. I think maybe you're together when this is happening. You obviously, like you say, like there's so many boot tracks that have been going around to the different places and people throwing things in that whatever tracks may have been here have been completely destroyed by this point. But what you do find in the ruins of your of the burned structure there, Store, buried by snow and kind of trodden down into the ground, is a fairly heavy lock that would have been used to secure the door. And what you can see is that the lock has been scoured through with some kind of something has burned through it, like through the actual lock itself. So you pick this up and look at it, and like there's the signs of scouring and whatnot, and the being exposed to the heat. It's warped a little bit too. But what you can pick up is that where the actual lock bit is, you would think that either that there's some kind of extreme heat that was exposed directly to that lock to defeat it. Oh, you're muted.
Someone burned through it with acid or something.
With acid, with
or
magic, with yeah.
All right, we'll keep that under our hats. Anything else?
Nothing else, unfortunately. No, I mean, apart from your thought is that this is obviously not a natural occurrence. There's nothing. Yeah, looking through the smoldering ruins and talking to the people, Lex and Store, everyone's opinion is that this was arson, and the popular opinions that everyone's drawing is one, it's the Ragged Tribesmen to blame. They're trying to starve you out. They're trying to make you broke here. And two, why didn't Speaker Devessa do more? This should have been prevented. We should have executed that Ragged Tribesman when we did. This is the benefit we get from her weak leadership.
So, obviously, talk to Lex briefly about it, but maybe we can see if Cola's friend has anything to say about this lock.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem like natural burning. Metal doesn't burn like that normally.
Okay. I don't have detect magic prepared, so I think it's all natural. Look at this. It has a Looks like magic here. That's all I can say.
Okay. So apart from that, that is, you guys are obviously all just exhausted by this point. It has been such a long day. Because in this day you have arrived here, you dealt with the Yeti, you celebrated a fair amount in the North Look, you had that confrontation with Slim, and now you spent all night fighting fires. So it's hard to believe just how long this day has been. You are all just bone tired. And cold, too. I think now the exhaustion or the level of fatigue has settled in, so you can feel the, just how, oh, if you're hearing squeaking, that's because Anna is keeping herself occupied, sorry.
You gave her a giant hamster wheel back there.
She was biting my hand before, but she's transitioned onto the ball, and that is a much preferable chew toy. So, okay. So then, what do we see next, guys? Is there anything else you guys want to do at the scene here, or do you want to head back or head over to the Gelden Stag's Rest, and then try and find a place to sleep there?
Yeah.
Time to rest.
On the way back to the Gelden Stag, though, Store, why don't we not walk in a giant cluster? Like 8 or 9 of us might be deterring someone from contacting you, perhaps.
All right. I don't remember. I also wanted to ask, how bad was the apothecary shop destroyed? Does the guy live there or not? Or
like a lot of tradespersons, he probably lives above the shop or somewhere behind or something like that. Oh, not above, because it's one story, so it'll be probably behind. From what you remember, it's just the front end of the shop that was destroyed. The Yeti was fortunately distracted enough, first by those guards who got massacred, and then by you guys.
Okay.
Oh yeah, did you want to stop by? Thomas, you were the one who really dealt with him the most.
Yeah, I was. Well, after being distracted by the fire, I think once we know it's out, I think one of the two of us probably ought to go and see if he's all right.
Okay.
I think more than 1 or 2 of us. Our dealings with potential dealings with Slim are going to require more than 1 or 2. That's a situation where I would recommend we all stay together.
Yeah. Okay.
But if we're trying to lure out the cult and getting them to talk to Store, then maybe we walk in clusters of 2 or 3 and not far from each other, but not all together. But I don't know.
Presumably it's only about 200 feet away because it was to the north of where the shop was. So.
Okay.
So as you guys make your way, it's very, very close to there too. So when you come walking up towards the apothecary's shop, and remember it's kind of like on that corner, location. The front of the shop has been smashed in, and what you find in there is what's his name here? His name is Reardon. Reardon has like a wooden crate that he's kind of walking around, picking up broken bits of glass, tossing it into there, and he looks over. Oh, whoa! And he looks over at the stained face of all of you guys, says, "So you've been dealing with a fire, then? I see."
Mm-hmm.
I feared that it was. Did you meet with Slim? I take it that's why you're here.
Very pleasant individual.
Can be quite persuasive. I thought that perhaps the warehouse was someone who was more aggressively contesting the protection money. So, did you get my money back from him?
Some of it, and I'll look to Store, who I know is better at the diplomatic
He was not pleased that we came to speak to him, as he is a Weasley-faced bastard for sure. But
did you tell him that?
I might have.
He seems impressed. He seems to be thinking the same thing, but he would not have the gumption to do that.
Motioned Lex to show him the gold that we got from him. But he, unfortunately, it says that your business with Slim's little organization is no longer active. So you don't have protection from him. In fact, I think you have quite the opposite.
And he gestures around at the shop. Does this seem worth the 150 gold I spent on this? Hardly. Wait.
No, but your life still has value.
If you hold out the coins, he takes them and counts them. He says, a third. This is a third of what I paid.
Yeah, I think we were lucky to get that without any bloodshed.
Yeah, I think someone else displeased him because they were cleaning up a rather large bloodstain when we found him. And one of our colleagues from the caravan, we can't find him anymore.
The pale one? He seemed certain he would get that money back.
I do the...
I see. Well... I did agree to pay if you got the 150 back, but this, and he sort of looks at it, is... He jingles it around. Coin is more valuable to me than my trade because it will take time to repair this. I know we agreed to gold payment, but perhaps I could offer something in trade? In lieu?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fine, I think.
Grim, show him that lock. Maybe he can tell us if it was done with alchemical efforts or something else.
Okay, and he takes it from you, and he looks at it. He walks over to like one of the tables in the shop, and he kind of clears a bunch of broken vials and stuff off of it. He grabs a leather satchel, opens it up, and pulls out these kind of like, they're sort of like, imagine the kind of like microscope you could design as a goggle set with medieval technology. So it's this leather kind of ball cap or whatever, or cap that he puts on his head, and he looks at this thing. Yes, you found this in the fire, right? And he turns and looks at you, and he's got this big lens on his eye, so his one eye is really huge.
Mm-hmm.
You found this in the fire?
Yes.
That's top secret.
I hear the fire had a greenish color to it.
Yes.
An awful smell.
And a smell.
Right.
Then this, I can think of alchemical agents, alchemical liquids that could do this. Acids and things that burn like fire, but remain liquid. You see? And he gestures to it. You see how it's gone down?
Brandon, turn off your mic, will you?
Oh.
Chomp, chomp, chomp.
It's the bag.
I was saying Captain Crunch.
Sorry about that. I didn't realize.
No, that's okay.
I switched my expensive keyboard for this cheap one. Which
That's much appreciated, bro. Okay.
Oh, no, it's on my work from home setup in the other room. So.
Oh, nice. So what he holds up, and you can see there is like a bit where it's sort of like as if it dripped down and burned its way through it. He says, "This, I would think this is certainly that, and I can think of alchemical supplies or alchemical substances that would have burned in that same color as well too, but for a controlled time."
Have you sold any like that recently?
Very little call for such things from my shops. These are more practical effects, practical items that I sell. Those would be mining. Perhaps dwarves may have access to that, or those alchemists who specialize in more violent applications of their goods.
Do you know of a way that we could silver our weapons?
There are alchemical ointments that can do such things, though they last for a short time, and I have none on stock, unfortunately. Again, very little call for that. What I have, you weren't looking for something like this, were you? And he gestures to the burned lock.
Anything that we could use would be definitely worthwhile to us. Just show us what you have.
Well, what I can offer you is, and he looks around the shop as if like, and he's still got that big, apparatus on his head, and he kind of gets disoriented, takes it off, puts it down. What do I have left? Let's see. And he goes over and kind of pushes stuff to the side, and he pulls this out. And it's a big, heavy, like, little thing about, like, yay by yay, about that wide. He brings it over, boom, and it's secured with a big iron kind of, what do you call it, clasp on it, like to prevent it from opening up. He says, well, it will not be as potent as whatever did, and he gestures to the lock that, but he opens it up, and there are 6 glass vials with a kind of an oily looking substance in each of them too that has a very vague, like, greenish hue to it. And he says, these, you're welcome to take these. They will not burn with the potency of what you had, but they certainly will prove a powerful solvent. And so what those are, guys, is vials of acid. You can toss them, and they'll do, I'll say, 1d4 damage, acid damage per turn, and they will burn for, let's say, 2d6 turns.
Rounds, you mean, right?
Rounds, not turns, yeah. It burns like alien blood.
Alien blood.
Molecular acid.
What, all right, well, that seems like a worthwhile gift, but if you can
I have one more.
Oh, nice.
And he goes over and he pushes things aside, and he's looking at this sort of like ruined shelf. And he's like, yes. And he grabs this thing, brings it out, puts it down on the table as well too. This one's a little longer. It's about 2 feet long. It's a little lower, and he hits the clasp and opens it up, and he says, oh. And what you see inside is there are a bunch of like kind of squat clay jugs that have seals on top of them, and you can see that about half of them are broken from the fall, but half of them still remain. And what there is, and there are 8 potions of healing.
Nice.
And for each of those, they will heal 2d4 plus 2 if you drink the whole thing all at once, or you can sip it, and then each will heal 1d4.
How many sips are there?
Let's say there's 9 there, actually, guys, just because that'll be easier for everyone having one to start. And each of them are full, otherwise. These are brand new. He was going to provide these for sale to people, but they have broken.
How many sips are in each vial if you
2.
just do the D4?
Yeah, just 2 sips. Yeah, okay. It's basically you take half of it and then finish the other half. So it's sip will heal 1d4. Drinking the full thing will heal 2d4 plus 2.
Okay. Well, this seems great. If you could work on that silvering weapons, that would be something that we would gladly pay for.
He kind of looks at you, and then he looks around at the ruin of his shop. He says, well, I suppose you are here for the winter, so...
Indeed. Hey, if you know anyone else, maybe, perhaps you can send them our way. But I am a little concerned about your safety.
He has bigger fish to fry. If he comes, he comes. I'm not paying anyone else for protection. No disrespect meant. I appreciate what you did recover.
Very well, we can appreciate that. But for now, we're tuckered out. Plain tuckered out from this day.
If you know anyone looking for alchemical supplies, in amongst your kind, you tell them 50% off. Until we are up and open again, 50% off all supplies.
Prices are crazy.
Yeah, exactly. The magical equivalent of the Sofa King commercial. Okay, so anything else you guys wish to do here? No? So you guys can head back to Geldenstag's Rest. So on the walk back, and I guess after you guys initially check into Geldenstag's Rest, let's maybe take a moment for you guys to talk about what's going on and what you're going to do. What's going through everyone's mind here right now?
So originally, I thought that we should keep a watch out at the apothecary's shop, even though he wasn't going to pay us, just because we might be able to get a link on Slim. But there's not that much we can do against Slim's people if lycanthropy is involved.
Yeah. Do we have any means? Claire,
Apparently.
Anybody have anything that we can use if we have to go up against Slim's band?
Didn't we find a silver rapier?
The best Falcoril can do is make his staff magical for a brief period.
I've got burning hands.
I don't know that we got a
a favored spell on this channel.
Oh boy! I don't know that we have a silvered rapier. Who had that? That you're thinking of?
Maybe it's a different game.
Oh.
I'm playing so many at the moment. They all pin the
And I'm pretty sure that our ultimate adversary is an Aboleth. Isn't that you're playing in Ruins of Azatlan, aren't you, Mo?
Yes, but that's on hold, so we're doing.
Oh, okay. No, sorry, that's the Aboleth.
The Rune Lords and.
Oh, that doesn't really matter, That's it.
But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
doesn't Calibur have a silver longsword? Like, come on.
Yes. Let's head back, and then it sounds like we got to make contact with this Donovan guy. I want these silvered weapons as soon as we can get them if we're gonna have to go up against them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to put somebody at the apothecaries even just to watch?
Sure.
It might not be.
Okay.
As long as it's not me.
So this is the 26th of Elite, and the temperature today has gone up to, during the day, will be about a -10 or -12 Celsius. So it is well below zero, and if you guys pass Market Square, you sort of, I think, around that time see... why do I keep forgetting his fucking name? Jesus. Hengar being lashed back to the pole in the middle of the square, and I guess refreshes your memory that he will, he's scheduled to basically die by exposure this evening. He looks a little beaten, there's some fresh bruises on his body too. Either he resisted or they just laid into him. But he is as defiant as he was before, and as he passes by them, he looks at you, Gorwin, and he says, "You promised, elf." And the guard's like, "Shut up, you!" and keeps him going towards the square, center square. You make your way to Geldenstag's Rest, and this is one of the oldest establishments in town. The inn's accommodations are lackluster. The small rooms are furnished with only a stool, a chamber pot, and 2 cots with dirty furs thrown over them. You might think that this would be the place that attracts lowlives and whatnot, but because Myrtle is so nosy... Oh, hey! Hold on, give me 1 second. Someone's eating her bed.
How do you know what my wife was doing? Heidi, quit eating that bed. All right, what else are you guys thinking? We're not gonna, unless we do split the party somehow. If we exile with this, with the Rhaegar tribesmen, of course, we could also hide the silvered weapons there, and they would be really good companions. But that kind of kills the idea of catching the cult.
So, one possibility, it seems to me, is that we could essentially convince to do the exile for Hengar. And then we could also, on the way, go to, because it's north towards the Rhaegar tribes. It's basically on the way to go with Helga Silverstream to the Dwarven Valley, and that would be a good kind of stopping point. And then go further north to meet the Elk tribe. But obviously that means kind of abandoning all the stuff that's going on in Bryn Shander.
Exile would have to happen today, though, or otherwise he's going to die, and I don't think the dwarf thing is for another few days.
The dwarf had 5 days of things she could do in town, but it sounded to me like she was happy to go whenever, that she could occupy herself if needed.
She'll leave whenever you guys are ready.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, though. I'm not too concerned about the local politics, but if the guy who's looking to take over is worse than the current leader, if we convince her to exile or break him out, we're actually going to do this town a disservice because people are just going to blame it on her, and it'll make it even harder for her to stay in power.
Yeah.
We got to look big picture here.
On the other hand, that may not be bad for us if we want to ally ourselves with a new power in town, but
That's
he
unlikely.
sounds like a jerk, but
then there's the other piece to consider if the Rhaegar tribesman is frozen to death, or that might be bad for all of the 10 towns.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
It struck me what we could do is that Clothier, who effectively tried to persuade one of us to become a cult member, is get her to repeat that, but with witnesses, and then we can drag her off to I forget the speaker Duvessa.
I was kind of hoping to get all that would do is alert that cult then. And I would rather take that cult out of the head if we could take out Davril himself.
I thought Davril was the guy with the swords, not involved with the cult.
No, the guy with the swords is Donovan.
Oh, sorry, similar names. Yeah. So in that case, I think we've got to spirit the tribesmen out.
Could we? Is there a way like we could pay like a monetary price to just buy his exile instead of just having him die? I mean, if he was accused of stealing something, could we not pay for it?
She made it sound like we don't have to pay for it, but she would consider that exile. So.
What if we get him exiled and send him off with somebody, but we stay here to take care of the cult?
Well, I don't think the cult thing is going to happen right away, because if that dude is a merchant in Bremen, he's only going to come here once in a while anyway.
True.
So maybe we should just do the dwarf thing, and if that other thing happens, but have him exiled, and that's maybe the best way to go about it.
Yeah. The local politics is probably the least of our concerns.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but let's deal with what we know, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So assuming you guys will take some time today to get some rest.
At the Geldon Stag's Rest. Huh.
Yeah, so hold on. So Falcarel, sorry, I know you whispered that, John, but I don't know. I can't really whisper back about this. What do you like? How much money do you actually have on hand?
I've got 35 gold.
Yeah, it's probably not. Yeah. So Falcarel seems quite intent to trying to buy freedom for this guy, but you know, there is an option. Like, it sounds like you could try and convince her to or at least she gave the inclination that there is that option of exile, but you know, things are getting worse for her. So her being paid off to, you know, to release this guy, I'm not sure that's gonna. Yeah.
What if we freed the guy and made it look like her political opponent was behind it?
Okay, so how would you do that?
Deception.
I don't. Yeah, not sure.
It's the underpants.
Graffiti, I don't know. So it's here.
Leave a note.
Leave a note.
Signed, evil guy.
Yeah.
Boston Tea Party and yell down with whatever her name is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't maybe. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what else? I'm assuming then is each of you in those dingy little rooms. You each get about 7 hours of sleep. So your morning is gone. We're into the mid-afternoon. Everyone recovers 1 hit point if you've taken any damage. So Oswald, you're back up to full.
9. Yeah.
And then everyone has a chance to recover their spells. So if you're changing out your memorized spells, go ahead and do that. And yeah,
Are we going after the were-rats today, or what's the plan?
Well,
We would need the silvered weapons. The only thing we really need to do is find out about making contact with this Donovan guy, and then figure out how we're gonna free Rhaegar, the Rhaegar tribesman.
Yeah, I'll take sleep then.
Okay. So then, if you ask around a little bit, I think that actually Store and Brune would likely know, just because you guys have worked as mercenaries before. You know where to kind of go to track down or to find Dunovan. What you find out is a little surprising. Turns out that warehouse that was burned down, he kept it secret because he didn't want to look like he was too big for his britches or whatever, and kept it through effectively like a shell company. But that was one of Dunovan's warehouses too. So he owned that one too. He just didn't want to appear to be too rich. So that's what you hear as you're sort of asking around in the quarter, and it will take you about let's see here. I think it'll take you, let's give it 1d4. Let's say that's how many hours. They didn't keep him out there. They will keep watch on him all night. Yeah. But there's only 2 watching, though, John.
The reason I ask is there might be a way I can protect him from the cold, but it doesn't last long enough for 1 casting. So.
Okay. Okay, 4. So it takes you about 4 hours of going to one place, and they tell you he's in that, and then he goes over somewhere else. And in fairness, the place is a bit of a disaster with people running around trying to... you imagine now that you've found out that it's Dunovan who owns that, he's likely trying to dodge pissed off merchants and so forth as well, too. And I think that where you guys finally track him down is at one of his... he's at a mistress's location. Her place that she stays in kind of a rental, house. And how do you guys plan on approaching him? You've heard from one of his aides. I think that Store, you call in some favors and come on, tell me where is he really? And they're like, oh, she's with Larissa. Sorry. And Larissa is one of his kind of his girlfriends. And when you guys arrive there, it'll be on the second story of a again, everything's one story, so it'll be kind of a, yeah, I think it's going to be around down, let's see here, be around here, guys, in the north end of town.
Okay.
And when you walk up, someone who's going to be knocking on the door to answer.
I can, but we should probably have the note, so I have Bruin up close.
Yeah, I'll be beside you.
Okay. So you guys rap on the door, and then a young and attractive woman with red hair kind of answers the door, and looks over at the collected group of you guys. Yes?
No trouble, but we're looking for Dunovan. We have some important information for him. Mutual friend passed it on.
You can see there's a look of uncertainty that kind of crosses her face, as if she's not quite sure how to respond to this, especially with how many of you there are. She's like, and you hear from inside, Leary, that's quite okay. That's quite all right. Please let them in. And she looks and gestures for you all to come inside. So you all file in. And what you find sitting in kind of it's going to be cramped in this common room, but you find kind of an overweight man who's in his, I think he's in his about mid-40s. He's got a big honey drip mustache that kind of grows up into this little scraps of hair that's left around the crown of his head. That hair is quite thick and lustrous, but he's shiny bald pate on top, and he's dressed in kind of a big thick wool robe with fur trim on it. And he looks, and he says, Store, I see. What are you here for? You haven't been commissioned by one of those damned merchants to chase me down. I can't control when fires happen. I can't control for that, and we offer no insurance.
No strong arming from me. But, Lex, make sure there's no rats about, will you? Since he's not here.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll...
So you guys all do this careful kind of inspecting, and he's like, What are you doing in here? What are you expecting to find?
Pass him the note, Bruin and Grim. Hand over that lock. Show him what we found out about his warehouse.
Okay.
Yeah, Bruin pulls out the note from, what's her name, Mithran?
Mithran, yeah.
Yeah, Mithran asked me to speak with you about some special crates that were brought in, and he hands him the note.
Crates. His eyes get really big. Leary, our guests are no doubt parched from their travels. Get them drinks, and take your time. She sort of looks and kind of winks at him knowingly. Of course.
I'm gonna slip her a gold piece. Say, get yourself something nice, love.
She looks at you and kind of wanders out.
Doesn't get back the money though.
Yeah. So she heads off to elsewhere in the house, and he snaps at you, and kind of opens the note and reads this. His eyes get bigger, and he gets even more pale. And he says, "Why did you come here? Those things."
Because 9 of us is really discreet.
Those. Where did Aaron send you?
Aaron is missing. Sorry.
Yes.
He's gone missing. I should never have agreed to bring that crate in. I'm certain that they burned down. Whoever it is he got those crates for, they are the ones who burned down my warehouse. And now they know that that's my warehouse, and that the others are my warehouse too. Years of planning to keep it secret. They don't tax you as heavily if they think that you're a poorer merchant than what you actually are. All of that time wasted. Oh. Wait. Are you here to get rid of those damn things?
We'll take them off your hands, yes.
Happily. They're in one of my other warehouses. Not far from that one, on the far side of the warehouse district. It's also owned under a different name. But it's in there. If you could take the damned thing and get rid of it. So wait. If they don't know that you've got that crate, they're still going to come, and they're still going to destroy another of my warehouses.
Are you saying you need some security?
Yes. I'll pay you 50 gold pieces. Watch it tonight. Just one night. If they don't come tonight to burn that warehouse down, or any other warehouse I might own, then I will know that they think the crate destroyed. You're free to take the crate then, and take the damn thing off my hands. And you tell Arun and Mithran I'm doing no more business with them.
Noted. 50 gold pieces together or piece?
50 gold pieces in total.
Great.
Total. It's a lot for risking our lives with some potential lycanthropes.
What'd you say?
It's a lot to be risking our lives with some potential lycanthropes.
If you have better work, you're free to take it. These are lean times. I just had a warehouse burned down to ashes, and I've got all sorts of merchants that I'm going to have to pay off to some degree or another just to keep them silent.
we'd need at least 5 gold pieces each.
I agree.
So,
Well, that is.
yeah, we couldn't do
That's
it.
actually less.
I know.
Yeah.
No,
I love it.
we'll take the 50.
So he looks, and yeah, I guess.
Lex is looking around. He's like, well, would it be possible for us to dig into the crate and use those if the lycanthropes are coming to...
Whatever is in the crate, you take it and you deal with it. That is left to your discretion. I know it's weapons. If Mithran, she says you're welcome to them. And if you see around again, if he's still around, so many disappeared right now. I tell you this, Duvessa is not like her father. Not at all.
How so?
He would never have allowed this to escalate to this point. Tribes that are attacking here. I hear that they've had ogres coming in through the gate to attack. Who's ever heard ogres being in this region?
They were Yetis.
Yetis? That's worse! Yeti in the town, in the streets of Bryn Shander?
It couldn't have been too bad if you don't know what they were.
Such times. Oy. Then, yes, I'll give you, you'll speak to my... Speak to Dulbar. Dulbar is the one in charge of that warehouse. Tell him you're looking for the crate for Arun, and he will pass that along to you. And then tell him as well, oh, and he kind of gets up and waddles over and scrawls out this. If you spend the night, whatever, if they try to cause trouble, you deal with it. If they, when you get through the evening, I'll pay you the 50 gold. Yes?
Agreed.
Suppose we could always resell what's in the crate if we don't use it.
Of course.
What you choose to do with the crate is your own business.
Let's just get through the night.
All right.
Then, if there's nothing else, and he holds the note out, I think probably to Brune, to you, because you gave him the Mithran's note, and he hands Mithran's note back to you as well, too. And he says, holds the lock out to you as well, too. If you could dispose of this, I will have no further use of this.
Yeah, I take him back.
Then, now, guys, you can have an opportunity to talk about this. He sort of like barreled his way through about talking you that, assuming that you guys are going to be taking this task. Your characters do not need to necessarily agree to that. You can decide. It sounds like you may have had other plans for the evening, so you guys can take a moment if you want to say like, look, we'll get back to you about this warehouse gig. You're free to do that.
What do you guys think?
Could conflict with our plans of freeing the tribesmen. That's...
Well, so it seems like if we're gonna do the whole take the tribesmen with us and go to the dwarves and then go to the elk tribe, we need to leave basically first thing in the morning. If not, right, we can't really leave in the middle of the night, but we can't really stick around in Bryn Shander with him. Hobbs, I think you're muted.
It isn't so, Arlen.
Oh.
Yeah, I think we have to take. No, it was. You were right. I think we'd have to take him today, right? Because he's not going to survive to the morning.
Yeah, he's not going to live.
Well, what I was thinking is we could probably get another night out of the speaker and then say we'll take him in the morning, and that's, that'll
Well,
have
what
to
if
be.
what if we take him tonight and we just hide him in the warehouse while we protect it, and then we leave in the morning?
Well, I'm assuming this. I don't know, but I would guess the exile is like physically seeing him leave the town. But
Yeah, I was imagining the guards like take him to the gate and
yeah, it's
Okay.
not like even in a basketball game when you get kicked out, they escort you out the door. So
Yeah.
they don't let you hide on the bench or anything.
I was thinking more about the long walk in Judge Dredd, but sure, same thing.
Yeah.
Could we possibly get him as some sort of community service to help us out with the warehouse gig?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's
Well,
unlikely.
not unless we can like free him.
That's
and
what I was
not
thinking.
kill any
Free him and
guards.
then, yeah.
Well,
Well,
maybe
if
Grim could put the guards to sleep, and then we just disappears.
That's what I was. I was gonna suggest that because I don't have anything prepared for were-rats if they're immune to sleep, but I can put the guards to sleep. So
I don't know how
Well,
your
there's a
spells
plan.
work, but if there's any witnesses, we're now putting ourselves in a position where we're not able to come back or help.
Yep.
Well,
That's
I think if we suitably disguise ourselves in heavy cloaks.
yeah. Does anybody have this
not like
disguise
this.
proficiency?
I'm not looking to
That
become an
same
outlaw in one of the
Second
10
edition?
towns.
I think that, yeah. There's a disguise proficiency, right? Anybody
Again,
have
I'm not looking to become an outlaw in the 10 towns. I just got here.
Yep. Well, and also long term, because we talked about long term, Hengar came here to ask for help to fight against the Winter Witch or whatever they're calling her. If we get ourselves outlawed or in serious trouble here, then there's no way that we could come back to ask for help once we figure out what's actually going on with the Elk tribe, right? Which might be the kind of biggest threat in the region, or it seems like the biggest threat that we've heard about. Like, you know, Slim and his gangsters and the lycanthropes certainly are not good, but if the Winter Witch is sending Yetis within the walls to destroy Bryn Shander and all that sort of stuff, that's kind of operating on another level, right?
So this is what I propose. We get him exiled and tell him that we will come and help him, but we have some things to take care of for now. And he probably he came here on his own anyway, so he can probably survive to get back to his place or see what he thinks. And then we continue on with our other stuff. That way we're not burning any bridges, but we're still saving his life.
I agree.
I guess
That's a good plan.
the question for that is, are they just going to let him go without any type of like escort or anything like that, right? That I guess he's not outlawed in any of the other towns necessarily, but that the speaker might be more likely to let him go into exile if she knows that we're going to be, you know, escorting him back home essentially.
And not to be just as a extra little thing to consider too. Do you think that it's possible that when someone is exiled like that and sent off into the woods, do you worry that, say, vigilante types may see that as an opportunity to
true.
do the things that they, you know, the classic like, oh, sheriff lets them go, and then boom, the what do you call it, the you know, mob picks him up, and then
Cult of Laurel.
Maybe
Cult
we
of
should
Laurel doesn't
leave.
sacrifice anyways. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I guess
we
that's
should-
true. It's
we
called.
We should leave a stash of supplies for him outside. Let him know where to get it, so he could possibly, and also maybe some weapons if we can afford it, so he can defend himself if he gets attacked. But
But again, if the cult wants him dead that bad to keep the Winter Witch at bay, are they going to let him walk out of town and get to the next town?
they might not. But it gives him a chance. Like, I guess. It's,
All right. So that what we
so
do
we
then
can
is-
get up to him.
First things first, he's not exiled. We have to get that.
Yeah, we get him exiled, and then if we have to, we go with him for a little while and fend off anything that needs, and then we come back to the warehouse.
Collecting the crate from the warehouse is not contingent on doing that job either. You don't have to do that job in order to.
Right, we don't have to guard him. We could just go get the silvered weapons and go get him exiled and leave with him.
That's an alternative. Why don't we just take the crate and then he could claim they were stolen? We could bust a lock, and at the cost of a lock and some false witnesses, he can say that the crate's been stolen, and we just take it.
Well,
Doesn't
or
have to
we
say
just,
it's us.
right.
No, but for him to clear himself of having that and not have any more warehouses burned down, he's going to need a story as to why that he no longer has it in his possession.
Good idea.
Yeah. Not a bad idea, but I was hoping to bloody Slim's nose, especially if that's where Irvin was lost.
Oh, there'll be time enough for that yet.
All right. So
First things first, we need to get the exile done.
Very well.
And if we're gonna try to make money from the Dwarven merchant, then we need to send somebody to Kelvin's Comfort to talk to Helga about leaving tomorrow.
Okay.
But that's
Okay.
kind of a
I can go
background
do that.
thing.
Okay. So it sounds like we have, you're going to be arranging, so you would know the exile will likely take place in the morning. They're not going to kick him out right at the end of night.
Yeah, it
so
kind of defeats the purpose of exile to kick
exactly.
him out.
Yeah.
in the
So
middle
you were
of the
right,
night.
Gorwin. You were right.
He takes 5 steps out and then he just shit. So he will be exiled in the morning. That would be the morning of the 27th. I think you guys are on your way. You could stop by Kelvin's Comfort on the way to the Speaker's Palace, so I think that's what we'll end with, guys. Is you guys? So you stopped in and you've arranged. You make your arrangements with. Is it Helda? Yeah, Helda is agrees. Like, yep, she'll be ready to travel tomorrow. She's eager to get out of here. Things seem pretty crazy, and she's heard about this strange something called black ice that is coming out of the Dwarf Valley. Apparently, stuff that you can forge with like iron. And she really wants to. It's been the talk of the dwarven community at Kelvin's Comfort. So she's pretty eager to get back and find out more information about this and try and get her hands on some of it because it seems very, very promising.
Erlich would have loved that.
Guys. One for those of a certain age too, who are Canadians too. There's black ice just makes us think of a
that's not a good
shitty
thing.
beer campaign from the 90s. Black Eyes beer for strange men who stand on the.
Was super strong, being super strong.
Yeah, it was awful, and the commercials were so fucking weird of German actors standing on the cliffs in thunderstorms selling Canadian.
Straight to YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. I should include a link to one of those videos in the description. Okay, so then, guys, I think what we'll leave with is, as you guys have cleared things up with Helda, she's talked about this black ice that she's really pretty excited to get to. And as you guys make your way towards the square outside of Speaker's Palace, you can hear the sound of a crowd, an agitated crowd. And as you kind of walk out of the alleyway towards the clearing, you can see that there is a protest that is sort of formed outside there of an angry crowd shouting for Duvessa to come out and deal with things. And that is where we will leave our session. So, guys, let's talk about XP. I did the calculation while you guys were talking, so I don't have to total up things. I know how many points of Astonishing Fortune are left, which is all of them. Which means that before the XP bonus, let's see, I don't think no one cast any spells, no one used rogue spells, and you did not technically defeat anyone in combat, so fighters will not get any extra XP. However, each of you, as the group, will gain 186 XP for today's session, so 186.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can put that in the chat.
Okay, so that puts me on just over 1,200.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, those Yeti were worth a pretty penny.
Which I was there for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am right that the bonus I get for my high strength only applies to fightery things.
No, it's everything. That's the flat every XP. The class bonuses is if you defeat adversaries, that's when you get special XP from doing that, from doing things that are your class is quite good at.
Oh, so I get... In theory, I should have been adding it to everything, because I've only been adding it to the fighting stuff. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's only
That'll probably
10% of the
be some
XP. So, like, for this one, you'd be getting I think it's like 204? Is that right?
Oh, right.
For today? Yeah. So, great. All right. So then, guys, for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for the, what do you call it, session... Episode 3 of our Legacy of the Crystal Shard quarantine campaign. As always, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section of this video, and I will reply in a timely fashion. Alternatively, you can find me on Twitter at Dungeon Musings. You can find me by email. My email address is dungeonmusings@gmail.com. And in the description of this video, you can find a link to the Dungeon Musings Discord server where all of us are active and and we have channels dedicated to this campaign as well as every other campaign we run on the channel, as well as other games and so forth. In addition, there's a link in the description of the video to something called Heroes Save Villages, which is the charity fundraising campaign that we run on the channel. At the time of recording, this is right in the middle of the COVID-19 crisis, so I think there are other things that, you know, if you are in a position where you do feel like you can contribute to a charity, I would suggest contributing to one of the many charities that benefits the frontline servicers, so the doctors, nurses, health EMTs, healthcare professionals, people who are dealing and fighting this crisis head on. They are true latter-day heroes who are putting their lives in danger to try and help people. So if you are inclined, you feel free to check out the Heroes Save Villages charity. They would certainly benefit from that. But right now there are other people, I think, who are more immediate need of those services. So. And last but not least, I guess, and in addition, if you want to catch the next episode of this, we're playing again next Sunday, and then we'll be back the week after, Saturday and Sunday. You can find the schedule for this on the community tab of the Dungeon Musings the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel, the community tab. Sunday night, I always post the full schedule for the week. In addition, you can find that on the Dungeon Musings Discord server or on Twitter. And if you want to be sure to not miss an episode, be sure to click on subscribe and the bell icon so you'll know that when we are going live. Last but not least, I want to thank my quarantine crusaders here too. It is not every group that can manage a 9-person party and have a cogent session. So, Brandon, Mo, George, John, Arlen, Hobbs, Jeff, Andrew, and Dave, thank you so much for playing today, guys. This was really, really cool.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kev.
All right.
See you, everybody.
Oh, then, guys, until next time, for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us. Until we see you again, happy gaming, stay healthy, stay safe.